oopsie, baby. Frappuccino, baby. Frappuccino. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is like 12:45 in the morning. But you know what? I told everyone there's going to be a show this week, and I'm delivering on my fucking promise. Ladies and gentlemen, it is CrushCast. I, of course, am AphroditesCrush here once again with...
I'm Ian. And by the way, to give you some motivation to shorten that song, I'm just going to play me spinning this fidget spinner next time until the intro ends. How about that?
About that.
You hate those fidget spinners.
Don't ever, no. Just no. I hate fidget spinners with a passion. Ugh. So, what's been going on, man?
Not a whole lot. That's it. Oh, yeah. Here we have a text from Ben, I think. What's he got to say? Oh, yeah, he said, sorry, man. I can barely see straight.
That's all good. It happens. It's all good. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Just been working on lately I've been trying to work on this I've been trying to work on this mounting hardware. I have these different plexiglass sheets. This is supposed to be screwed together for my 3D printer, and this is like the top cover of it. And yeah, it's been a kind of a pain in the butt because I got an open box 3D printer, which made it like a couple $100 cheaper, but they didn't give me any mounting hardware for this, so I had to make my own brackets and stuff for it.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. But other than that, I think it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. My parents are going to pick me up to take me over to their house because I got to watch the dogs in the house for them until next Monday. So, yeah. It's like a 13-hour drive, so they're going to leave early in the morning, and it's like, shit, I might as well just stay up for that then and just crash there.
Shoo.
But yeah, I'll be trying to do the TNT podcast that Doug's on and I'm on. I'll be trying to do that from their place on a tablet. So hopefully you can still make that happen. I don't know, though, with Frankie, he's going to have to host it. So
yeah, I'm not 100%, but I think I might be able to make it for the show this week. So we'll see what happens. I do believe, but I also don't want to promise and look like jackass. So
hopefully Frankie can put down the pinstriping for us to do the show. Right?
I know, right? Dude, you're seriously going out on a damn pinstriping. Seriously. Seriously. So
what's been going on with you, dude?
This guy right here, this lovely iBook, which I'm going to be working on hardware-wise here pretty soon, once I can get the parts. Let me tell you a little story about this guy. So, of course, I'm not sure if I put it on this channel, but I have it on my iBook review, where I bought it off eBay and then was having problems with it because I couldn't get past the original admin on the device.
Right.
So I was just bouncing around on YouTube, and I'm like, we'll see what I can find. And then I'm like, you know what? We'll see if I can find anything in particular. So kind of bouncing around, seeing if there's like a back door or something. So there's a little bit of coding that I found where all you need to do is go into your boot screen and hold down a couple buttons while it boots after the chime and enter in some lines of code, because you can do that on the older Macs. Maybe on the newer ones, I don't know. But turns out 30 seconds later, I now have a free and clear iBook. All I had to do was set up a brand new account, went through, did all the admin stuff, and boom, treated like a brand new MacBook or iBook. So,
yeah, well, that's all the passwords protect is your account or whatever on there, right?
Well, there is also you have your standard password, and you also have your admin. Excuse me. So when you go through and you change the admin, it locks all the admin stuff out. As in you can't normally do anything. But with these older Macs, it's actually a little bit easier to go and delete the old admin after you create your new admin, and then you're done. So lucky that I found it, because I was about to give up. I was so close to giving up. So happy
What
new
does it
happy
matter
day.
what you have on there? If, like, couldn't you just bypass all that by formatting the thing or something? Don't you have like a...
See, that's just it. You can't do that with Macs unless you have
really?
a bypass. Like actually, like for reformatting it, you have to do it directly from disk on the older Macs. But the thing is, on this iBook, the disk drive is broken, so I tried to do it on an external, but the external is treated as, of course, an external device, so you can't boot from the external device. So I was like, well, I got to come up with another option, because you can't do it from a USB drive. You can't do it from an external CD or DVD drive. The only way to do it is through the disk drive with your original boot disks.
Is that because it was older? Because you should be able to do USB and stuff with the newer ones.
I don't know about the newer ones, to be honest with you, but I mean, it's supposed to be another level of security that Apple provides.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, oh, I got to bypass Apple security. No, it's just that, all the old stuff that was on it, because I made a concerted effort to try and contact the original owner. I did some sleuthing. I pulled out, as Adam DeWoo would say, my Columbo-like research skills to try and find the original owner. That way I could let them know that I had this. And I even put it on my review thing that I had online. It was like, most people are not as honest as me. Normally, I got an Apple product off eBay. Well, screw them. I'm doing what I want with it. I try to get a hold of this person. I went on. I tried to find their Facebook information. I sent them a Facebook Messenger thing. I looked them up. I said, "Hey, I have an iBook. It has your name on it. According to my research, this is you. Is this yours? If it is it stolen?" I mean, I tried to go about the right pathway to, making sure that I had this legitly,
Right.
Instead of being a dick about it and just, I spent $15 on this, it's mine. Now, I wanted to do it the right way. So I didn't hear back. I put out a YouTube video on it. No one said anything about this, about it. So I'm like, okay, well, now it's time to hardcore try to find a way to make this a way I can use it and not be running on someone else's profile. Because it's not like I'm just going to download all their information out there and just disseminate it into the internet. Not that guy.
Right.
So a couple coding lines are literally like maybe 30 seconds out of my life. Done.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what happened to all their old stuff on there? Did they have anything on there or something, or
they had?
Is that stuff locked up?
No, I deleted it all.
Oh, okay. What do they have on there? Just like some videos or documents or something?
And this is a big reason why I tried to find out whose it was. Because I found personal pictures, I found the resume of this person. I found music that they had downloaded. I found so much old stuff. And I'm like, well, far be it from me to just delete something that was somebody's and not try to go about the right way to get this to them. That said, I did my due diligence. I tried to find out whose it was. I mean, there's no other way I could really go about it without actually knowing specifically who the person was, and I thought I found the right person on Facebook when I sent them the message. So I can't.
Well, you can't really feel bad because, especially if it wasn't stolen, then it was his responsibility, whoever he gave it to, then to delete all this stuff or back it up or whatever, you know.
Exactly, and that's something that I was like, well, on one hand, I mean, it sucks that I might have deleted someone's personal information. On the other hand, I mean, they didn't get back to me. You know, they didn't. They could have looked at that message and thought, "Oh well, that's that, and it's over." No, there's no other course of action I can honestly think of that could have like indemnified me even less. You know what I mean? So,
right. Well,
that person gets back to me in 3 weeks and says, "Well, that was mine and it was stolen." Well, sorry, man. I mean, I can give it back to you and I'll delete my stuff off of it, but your information is gonzo. I mean,
well, not necessarily. I mean, if he's willing to pay the money, he could. Well, dude, they can recover information off of a hard drive that's been set on fire or even drilled into. I mean, did you use like a program that used that military thing where it writes like all ones and zeros or whatever to it?
I actually just went in and manually deleted out both profiles. Because of how it's set up, it's basically like it's small partitioned off now on the hard drive, and unless there's a way to, and I'm not sure there is on the iBooks, there might be, unless there's a way to bring back that information via a program of some sort for something that has a profile that's deleted. Maybe they can run a virtual on it or something. That'd be the only way.
But I thought they had other equipment to recover that type of stuff if they needed to, like the FBI or something.
Well, I mean, that's also getting past like Apple's encryption too. And we all know how the FBI feels about Apple's encryption.
Right. Well, on the Windows side, if it's like a regular hard drive or whatever, even like flash things where they have like thumb drives, you can get programs to try to recover that stuff after it's deleted or formatted.
That's because Windows is shit.
Well, not just Windows, but like just like
Windows
regular desktop
Windows
computers.
Windows is shit. With possibly some of the worst data protection I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Just ever.
Ever. You know, you can put other operating systems on desktops, like Linux or whatever other custom OS on there. I'm just saying, like regular platter hard drives, you should be able to do that with.
But see, the thing you got to remember too, though, is even with those other operating systems, they make up. It's got to be less than 20% of all known operating systems on desktops, as far as anything else. It's basically Windows, Mac OS X, and everything else. And everything else is so little. Like the amount is just so minuscule. It's insane. Insane.
But okay, so what else have you been up to? You said you were been working out a lot lately.
Yeah, still working on my my bodybuilding stuff. Just get ready to switch gyms. I'm done with Planet Fitness. I canceled my membership last night. So done. Cannot tell you how done I am. So done.
Why are you done?
I'm tired of. I was tired of not being able to work out the way I want to and the way I need to really progress. I mean, I can get in some really basic workouts at Planet Fitness. However, I am not, at least in my estimation, I was not getting the type of workouts that I would consider to be 100% beneficial. I was getting okay workouts as far as just, okay, hey, they're a workout. However, the workouts in and of themselves were just not as, hardcore as I wanted to go. I wanted to be able to fucking clang and bang, man. I wanted to be able to pick up a weight and just go with the kind of intensity that I want to go with. And there, it was a constant struggle because when you're working out and you want to be able to push out that last rep, but like you kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, if I try to make any noise, they're gonna lunk alarm me. You can't.
They're gonna what?
Lunk alarm. Basically, if you make any noise, you drop any weights, or otherwise gym intimidate, they will hit this little button that goes woo woo, and they're like, don't do that. That's against the rules.
Well, because they're worried you're going to hurt yourself or something? Or
no, they're worried that they said it's called gym intimidation. That you doing your workout and you doing what you want to in the way that you feel is necessary is somehow infringing on everybody else's right to want to work out.
Yeah.
So
what's it, like a library? You got to keep quiet?
Mainly, yeah.
Wow.
Don't make any noise. Don't grunt. Or otherwise act like a quote-unquote lunk. So
isn't that all they do at a gym is grunt? I thought.
Oh, no, not Planet Fitness.
It sounds like a game. Dude, I listened to this one Howard Stern show once where they had a game where you had to guess if it was either dudes working out or if it was gay sex, and it actually was pretty hard to tell.
The thing about it is when you're pushing massive amounts of weight, if you have your hands in front of a couple 100 pounds worth of weight, you're going to make some noise, or your body is going to try to relieve that tension in other ways when you're trying to crank out a rep. And for them to say, well, you can't do that is insulting. And the only reason I was working out there is because I just wanted a place to work out. I needed a cheap place where I could just go and throw around some weights for a little while. And it just, I hated working out there. I hated it then. I hate the fact that I've still been going there and not going to what I call a real gym, a place where I can just pick up and just, for lack of a better terminology, just let the alpha take over for 45 minutes to 2 hours and just clang and bang.
Right.
I always want to be, if I'm going into a gym, I want to be treated like an athlete, not like a customer. You know what I mean? I guess would be the best way to put that. And that's, Planet Fitness treats you like a customer. They treat you like a number. And every time I walked into Planet Fitness, it was this entire thing of, well, you have to act a certain way, fall in line. I'm not a good follower as far as falling in line goes. I want to be me. If I'm training with somebody, I want to be able to give them some tips if they want some pointers on a lift. You can't do that at Planet Fitness because it means you're training them, and that's against their rules for one person to train another person. You have to use their personal trainers if you want to learn how to lift. And I'm like, well, how can you learn how to lift from someone who probably looks like they only lifted the donuts from fucking plate to face? You know what I mean? Not saying that every single Planet Fitness is like that, but a lot of them are. How in the hell are you going to get kicked out of a gym for treating it like a gym? No,
that place sounds pretty sissy, man.
It's not the fact that it's sissy. It's the fact of it doesn't treat gym goers with that kind of respect that they deserve. And unfortunately, like, it's just one of those things where you always get that sense that they don't respect the people who are there to lift. They want that $10 a month. They want that $20 a month from people. They want that money from them. That way they can, spend a good amount of it for, first Monday of the month you get pizza at a gym. Second Tuesday of the month, bagels. So you're telling me at a gym where you're supposed to be espousing healthy living and healthy workouts and all that, it's pizza every first Monday of the month? How the hell are you going to tell me to lift and then shove Dominoes down my face once a month? And this is true at every single Planet Fitness. First Monday of the month is pizza day. Second Tuesday of the month is bagel day. Now, bagels I can see to a point because some people, they need those extra carbs before their workouts or after their workouts because of how they work out.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that a grease-slathered piece of dough with melted cheese and meat on top of it is a way to healthily supplant your diet? That's bull. That's bull. It's the way it is.
Yeah. I don't know what you're going to do now, but I got a bench if you want to buy one.
I got 2 benches in the basement, but I'm switching gyms. So the gym I'm going to now, or get ready to go to, this place is like old school, man. It's like I walk in the door of this place, and it's like I'm transported back to the mid to late 80s in a way, because like this place just has like old school weights and it just like rust and this kind of feel that you can actually let the animal out for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like a Rocky movie.
Like, it's more hardcore than a Rocky movie, I guess, would be the best way for me to explain it.
What is this place in the ghetto or something?
No, it's in a good part of town.
Yeah.
Good part of town. And the thing is, too, is that whenever I walk into this place, it just, like, you walk in there and you want to work out. You walk into Planet Fitness, you're like, I might work out today. I might take it easy. You walk in this place, number one, the guy who owns the place is jacked. I'm talking jacked. Like, this dude has got, like, the main running down the arm. Like, this dude looks like he lifts. Why? Because he actually lifts. Like, it's right there in your face, man. I mean, you walk into a Planet Fitness, and the drinks that they have for sale are things like Monsters and things like that. Rocksters, Monsters, and a couple other things here and there. And, the perfect cookie and blah, 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 blah. You walk into this gym, what they have for sale is like actual stuff that you can get at GNC. Like, I'm talking like Bang pre-workout. I'm talking Speed Stack from ABB, which is one of the oldest companies on the market that sells supplements. Like, this place, man, like, you walk in and it is like, I'm in a gym. I'm here to work. I'm here to go. Let's clang and bang, man. You know what I mean?
Have you met this guy?
Huh?
Have you met the owner?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Owner's awesome. Owner is like, we want to get you in here. We want to get you working out.
Well, that's what I like, because one of the things I've always wanted to rant about is, like, I hate owners of like businesses that are like total hypocrites. Like, the owner of McDonald's probably doesn't even eat his own food. It's like it just goes to show you, like, a lot of people don't really believe in their stuff if they're not actually using it. Or do anything with it, you know.
And that's the thing that, like, I really like about this place is that you just know when you walk in where you're at and what you're there to do.
Yeah.
So
now, do you go there? Like, what's the point of you going to the gym? Do you just like the environment, or do they have a whole bunch of equipment that you want to use besides just like a bench if you have a bunch of that stuff already at home?
Now, I can do home workouts every now and again. However, when I'm going to the gym, like, I feel more motivated to go in there, drop whatever I have going on at the door, and just do the program. Just program, set, rep, do it. If I'm at home, to me, there is a lot of distractions. I could go downstairs and work out, but I mean, I could. But I could also watch a couple movies. I could do this. I could do that. I could blah, 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 blah. To me, I feel more motivated when I'm at the gym, partially due to not having as many distractions, but also knowing that, you know what, I'm paying $30-some a month. You gotta work on the value that you're getting out of that money that you're dishing out every month. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, well, that's kind of similar to like how a lot of these, I've seen a lot of these YouTubers now are getting like office spaces and stuff, and it's like if you have a home business or whatever, it's a lot of times it's more motivating to go to a different place than because you definitely get distracted and stuff at home, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to put yourself in a different mindset and state of mind, doing something else besides just being home, you know.
Motivation to me is very much putting yourself in the right frame of mind to do what you need to do. Now, to me, working out at a gym is special in that fact, simply because you now are doing something that is outside of just regular activity. Now you're doing something that is working to improve your overall health, really just in general. You know, your ability to move. Like me working out now is going to ensure that 20, 30 years down the line, I'm going to be able to move around. I think a lot of people don't get that. So like when I buy like Flex magazine or I buy Muscle and Fitness or a Muscular Development, everyone's like, well, you just want to look like the guys on the cover. No, I don't. You know, I see those guys as guys that are working on their body to the extreme, and, you know, great for them. Fantastic. I get it. I really do. For me, it's just overall health. And yeah, I don't want to look in the mirror and see fat for the rest of my life. You know, I would just love to be just toned up to have under 20% body fat. You know, that would just be mind-blowing to me. Most people don't understand is that in the big guys like me, I was living with probably 30 to 35% body fat for so far up to this point, about 75% of my life. I didn't even actually take the gym seriously till maybe about 4 years ago, and even then it was a struggle to go from being lazy about what I was doing up to the point where I am now, where like I am constantly trying to better and get better and do things better. You know, everyone seems to laugh when I talk about how I look now, when a lot of those people didn't know me or didn't see me 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I wasn't working out. I was eating like crap. I was just not doing the right things at all. Now, I have a little bit of muscle, not as much tone as I want, but it's a progression. And that's the thing that most people don't realize, especially someone my age. Someone jumping into like actually taking care of yourself after 30 is probably the hardest thing to do because of how your body progresses and how your body's chemistry, to start off with, like testosterone generally deteriorates after after you hit 30. Well, mine hasn't gone that route yet, so it's working with that. And I am 35 now, so that's really when it was supposed to start dropping. I tested perfectly fine a couple of years ago. I might have already passed the threshold for like testosterone replacement therapy at 35. So now got to work to at least keep a standard progression up to that. That way, once I do have to get that, I'm in a better position to do so instead of being bottomed out by the time I'm 37, 38. Keeping up with muscle mass, keeping up with the diet, all these things, like there's a lot that works within itself, works together. People laugh when I started taking one-a-days. I'm like, well, I take one-a-days because once you're in your 30s, things start to get wonky for dudes. So all these other factors that work in, like I've had a lot of things go my way in that respect. Like the way I used to eat, and I think I might have mentioned this before on your guys' show. And this is not an exaggeration. I want to stress that this is not exaggeration. My day, just drinks, would consist of at least a 12 to 24 pack of Mountain Dew, at least two, at least two 20 ounces of Mountain Dew, a 2 liter of Mountain Dew, at least one energy drink, because I used to drink multiple energy drinks a day some days. Not to mention the fact that most of my meals would consist of things like chips or potato chips, snack cakes like Twinkies and Ho-Hos and stuff,
Right.
And that was for years. That wasn't for, well, you got lazy for a year or two. That was for years. And having to rebuild and reset and essentially change your entire eating habits from square one. And that really is square one. I'm lucky, damn lucky that I don't have kidney stones at my age. I'm damn lucky I don't have diabetes. I'm damn lucky that I don't have some sort of liver damage. And I'm damn lucky that I haven't had a heart attack by the time I even hit 30 because of how I was treating myself when I was younger. So all of those factors not equaling to, your 90% common denominator is extremely rare. And I got my heart checked out a couple years ago. I had my liver checked out. I had my kidney checked out. The doc's like, you're doing pretty good. And I'm like, huh? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
people only see the present. They don't see, restarting, building, rebuilding, restarting, multiple times beforehand to get yourself to the point now of taking, basically taking charge of your life from letting it spin and run out of control. That's why when I tell you about the 3-pointers, like this right here didn't exist a year and a half ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
It would have been all smooth.
Well, me and you are definitely lucky because like I feel pretty good. I really don't have any physical problems. Like Frank's always complaining about his back or whatever, or this or that, because he's getting older and stuff. And it's like, I mean, we're in our like last chance years where like I really don't have any wrinkles yet. I don't have any gray hair and stuff. So like now is like a perfect time to really get in shape. And like my thing is that like I really love, like I have a bunch of free weights and stuff. I was working out a few years ago getting our free weights, and then I sort of got out of it because I was out of commission. I had like a bunch of bruises from I had a home invasion back then where these like I had to knock on the door like late at night, and these 3 masked guys came in and started hitting me with a bat.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, it was a whole long story, but like that kind of motivated me, and like I was trying to just get better from that a little bit. I didn't have any broken bones or anything, but it just it just puts you in that mindset where you're weak or something then,
And that's the thing too, is when you're kind of, for lack of a better term, beaten down like that as far as a mental goes, that's the type of stuff that really has to drive you into that type of a jump back mindset, I guess would be the best way to put it. Just simply because of, you started, now you're going to have to rebuild from that. And, and I tell everyone, it's like, there's never a point where you can't restart. You know what I mean? There's never a point where you can't say, you know what? Today's the day. It's the point where you're like, oh, tomorrow's the day, and then tomorrow never comes. You know what I mean? So
the thing with me is that, like, I always I want to do it right and stuff. Like, I was going to ask you, like, do you have like a specific like schedule or something for like the amount of reps and like formulas and all that stuff and weights?
Well, I get that a lot from people I know. So the first thing is, basic is always the key. Because there's a lot of people, when they try to jump into it or they try to jump back into it, it starts and they jump into a program that is high run, just super complicated, super like balls out 7 days a week. You got to commit, and all of a sudden, like, you'll almost see like the brains squeeze out the side of their head because they're like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. And it really isn't, to be honest. You always want to start with something basic. When I started, the first big thing that really kind of jolted me somewhat into living healthier was I started a new job at the time, and I was also going to school at the time. Well, my schooling was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, on campus, they had a gym. So I'm like, oh, there we go. So this actually worked in conjunction with the job because I just gotten a job at Walmart. So I give myself a little bit of leeway between school and work. I tell them, okay, I can work at this time on Mondays, this time on Wednesdays, this time on Fridays. So I gave myself time in between then to go to the gym, get in a workout, and then go to work. But I was also working outside at the time. So this became a little bit easier because of the job I was doing, because I was like loading up mulch and stone and stuff for people in the lawn and garden area. So I would get a class, go straight to the campus gym, get in a really basic workout. I'd do a full body workout 3 days a week. Go to work, do my work, and then go home. That set me from it was a 9 weeks out there, from 320 down to 270 in 9 weeks of just cranking and just going. But again, that's also basic full body workout. I mean, super basic. One workout per body part and like 10 minutes on the treadmill, and then go to work 3 days a week. So,
like, isn't it important? Like, don't you focus on like one part of the body for that day, like arm day and back day and leg day?
And that comes later on, because as your body progresses and as your body gets used to your workout, after about 9 to 12 weeks, your body starts to plateau because it knows what's coming. Your body knows that, okay, Mondays, it's chest day, so he's going to do 3 sets of 10, 50-pound on the bar bench press. Well, then it's time to switch it up. So if you're someone like, say, a more experienced bodybuilder, they'll probably go to a different style of bench press and go with heavier weights or something along those lines. A really nice and basic full body for most people is a good way to get your body acclimated to doing things at the gym, and 3 days a week is a good way to acclimate your body as well, because you still get at least one rest day in between your workout days, and you take off the weekend. So having really simple full body workouts with lower weights and lower rep counts is a good way to start training your body into saying, okay, oh my God, no, we're under stress. Overdoing it, like say, for someone like me, I go minimum 4 to 6 days a week. There's no like right now I'm in the middle of a 7-day cut, but I actually found I was really more of a basic workout regime, so I'm probably gonna drop that and go to something else. But like 4 to 6 days a week at a minimum for me. Now my body is used to pushing these weights and doing these rep counts. Now I have to really be consistently changing it up because my body is now used to being punished. One body part is now used to being punished. One body part used to be punished. So now I'll go to 2 body parts per workout per day, and then you stretch out even further. So once you go into like the isolation style workouts and these isolation things that a lot of people are like, oh, well, this and this. I found for most people starting with a general workout regimen, is beneficial for the most part because it's simple like simple sets, simple workouts themselves, and it's not
Can you get
too
enough
stressful. From that, Oh, definitely. I can tell you from personal experience, doing simple workouts and having simple days off, simple rest days, and even having active rest days, which would include like even going out for a walk or even going to the gym and walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes, even at a low setting. Those types of workouts can start your body because you'll see a lot of change within those first 3 to 4 months anyway. So
like if you're doing like a full body thing though, like how much time can you actually focus on like a bench press though or something,
Well, that's just it. Is that you're not in that first couple months, I say that first 9 to 12 weeks, you're not full out rolling on this. Oh man, okay, let's grind this workout out. Let's just push it to the limit every single time. You're acclimating your body to essentially you're punishing your body whenever you're doing a workout, whether it's a curl, an extension, a press, a squat, a deadlift. You're tearing muscle fibers. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what you got to do, right? In order for you to get any kind of gain, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, just do one and then that's it.
Well, essentially, when you're doing these workouts, you're essentially tearing your muscles on purpose, and then that rest day gives them a chance to the micro tears, of course, and then giving your body a chance on the rest day to reattach, rebuild, and then prepare for the next day.
Now that's what I was going to ask your opinion on too. Is like I've seen like guys that were physically fit and stuff that a couple of them swore they were like, no, you don't got to give that stuff rest, and that they do it like every day. They don't even give themselves a chance to rebuild, but it actually worked for them.
Some people, it's different. I'm a big believer in the rest day because not everyone's like that. Not everyone can just grind and grind and grind because eventually your body's going to redline and you're going to get hurt. That's the one thing that I've told people for years, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm going 7 days a week." Well, what were you doing beforehand? Oh, nothing. And then 4 months later, they're out of the gym. They're hurt. They actually tore something. They got disinterested, like overwhelming your body and your mind because at least half of your workouts are mental. There are so
I
many
bet you that's what a lot of people in prison do is they probably grind every day and they're able to get it to be decent, I guess.
Well, I mean, that could be part of it. That could be. It's just that when you're doing things like pushing your body to that extent, it's not normally a good thing because of injuries and because of personal disinterest. There are many people who see the gym as a burden instead of a blessing. I see it as a blessing because I made it this far, and I have the privilege of walking into a gym and being able to do basically anything I want in that gym. It is a blessing every single day that I have that ability to do it, and I have the strength and the will to do it. That to me is a fantastic privilege to be able to do so, because with my past and the things I've done to basically halfway wreck my body, it doesn't have to be like that. It definitely didn't have to be like that for me. It could be like the largest burden in the world to pick up a weight to do a curl, and it's not. And that to me is okay. This is your second chance, man. You only get so many opportunities to make change in your life, and being able to do that is a privilege to do so. I get how people are, at first so gung-ho and, so tunnel vision about it. And then when they lose interest or they get hurt, it all falls apart because they don't take that time to build the foundation. You can't. You know what I mean? You got to have a foundation of appreciation for what you're doing before you can really kind of sink your teeth into it.
Well, you said the key word is time. Unfortunately, a lot of people they don't have time, or they want to try to do these. You ever try? What do you think about those exercises that are like the really quick bursts and stuff? Like I remember seeing those old commercials back in like the 2000s with the Bowflex. They're like, you get the 20-minute workout, you get ripped.
I see it like CT Fletcher sees it. So many people don't treat working out and going to the gym as so many people don't see it as a necessity.
Yeah.
I see it as a necessity. I know a lot of people who like, oh well, I tried that tummy tone thing where you put the diodes on your stomach and you hit the button and it tenses the muscles, man.
Yeah, why isn't the shake weight working out?
So many people are so against doing what is necessary, and to me, it's what is necessary. Nobody becomes a champion or is successful at something by taking so many shortcuts, and I see those as shortcuts. However, things like Bowflex and things like that, they have their place. They really do. Just like, to me, Planet Fitness has their place because it's the gateway. If you get a Bowflex and you're putting in that 20-minute workout every day, the Bowflex is still a way to get in a workout.
Yeah, like I was trying to ask you about that before. I should look up the word, but what do you think about do you think each has like a strength and a weakness where you just have dead weight versus like what's the kind of workout where you're doing workouts with like elastic string, or like they have where it's using it with that type of flexing or whatever with the Bowflex?
Well,
the rods.
The Bowflex is still a fitness system. It still gives you a poundage of resistance.
Right.
What I have found is but for me, using free weights, you exhibit individual muscle control. So when you're say doing a curl, instead of doing a thing with Bowflex where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm getting this in, and it's equal on both sides, and if one holds out a little bit, I can use the other to counterbalance, and I can still get the muscle to contract.
Plus, with one thing you can do with free weights is actually doing the pulling motion, right?
It depends on how you have your bench set up.
or whatever kind of.
If you're doing
like
face
if you want
down
to try
rows
to do
or flies, you
pulls,
can do that. You know, I mean, resistance bands have their place too. But me, I'm all about individual muscle control. I want my left side to be as powerful as my right side. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know, I want to be able, if I have to, if I got to, pick up a heavy bag at work, I can pick up a heavy bag using both hands, pop it on my shoulder, and then go. Some people can't do that because they don't work on individual muscle control. When you're talking about bodybuilding, you will see a lot of people, they'll do both. And I work on both. I like doing bands or machine related stuff, but I also have my free weight stuff because that is necessary to work on the individual muscles. Symmetry is something that for me is a little hard to do because I have a lot of fat on me, but to be able to get that full muscle contraction, even if it is a shoulder or like say, the scapula in the back, things like that, your individual muscles are still working as individual muscle groups.
I want to try to get those free weights that Bowflex does, where it's got where you can actually dial in the weight and it picks up the appropriate weight. Like that type of thing, I think is pretty cool. Because I wonder if we'll ever have like free weights in the future where you just press a button and it's like magically a certain weight or something, and that would be so awesome.
And the thing is too is that like I may not like Planet Fitness. In point of fact, I hate Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
But at least they have some free weights. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. But they have something. It's a little sectioned off in the fucking corner. But it's still there.
What do you think about the kettlebells? Because I know Joe Rogan swears by those because you could do a lot of different unique workouts with those.
I think kettlebells have a certain niche in how we do it. I know a lot of people who will do, a lot of kettlebell-based workouts. I didn't get them at first, but I get why they exist now. Especially for people who work with the lighter set of kettlebells, because you very rarely will find someone who's working with like a 65, 75, 85 pound kettlebell. It doesn't happen very often.
Right.
In the store that I work at, our kettlebells only go up to like 55 pounds. So it's just the type of thing where you have to see a piece of equipment for what it is and what it's there for. So,
right. Well, that actually relates. I hope it's okay. I sort of had like a mini topic. I know you had a couple topics that you said you wanted to talk about. But I want to get your opinion. What do you think about like? And I don't know if this is an opinion or a topic that you would want to get into, but you can let me know. Like, what do you think about trans people in like sports and stuff? Because that can be like cause like a lot of confusion and stuff, and there's like a lot of bad stuff that's been able to like people try to get away with stuff and everything in there. Like you could be a guy that's saying you're a girl or whatever, and you're bigger than everybody else. Then
Well, when you're talking about things like bone density and items like that, there is a little bit of truth to the entire, like it's almost like I'm a little split down the middle, okay? Because on one hand, it's very hard to change your actual bone density. It's very hard to really go in as far as your body goes and to change so many things about your physiological, not just your appearance, but your hormone levels, your your actual body composition, things like that. However, if you control all those things and they are available to be That was the best way to do that. It's more like, just for I don't mind the fact that we have transgender athletes. I think that as long as your intentions as far as what you're doing are in the correct place and you're not actively trying to cheat the system just to get number one on a podium, I'm cool with that. So,
well, I mean, I agree with you. It's just it's so hard to tell and stuff like that. It's like if you're like really big and stuff, and then you suddenly decide that you want to be a woman, it's like, and you want to be in sports, then it's like, what do you do? I mean, do you be like, if you want to get in these sports, you have to start taking estrogen and you have to start eating bonbons or something? I mean, make yourself less athletic. I mean, it's like, it's a very gray area. It's like, how do you control all that, you know?
Well, the main thing about that is, as long as you are doing it by the book, you should be fine. Whether you're making a transition, either way. Because your transition is all about the process and following the process and making sure that if you're going to be doing something as far as a professional sport goes, that you're following the rules. There's just a lot of people out there right now who just don't want to follow the rules, unfortunately. Hold on, give me a second.
Right. Okay.
I'm having a headset issue at the moment.
Have they had any trans wrestlers yet?
Not as far as I know. Yeah, not as far as I know. I mean, we do have our first official homosexual wrestler, in
right.
Darren Young. As far as anything else goes, I mean, I don't think it matters, truly. Most people didn't care as far as that went when he came out. It didn't matter really.
Right.
And he's just a wrestler, and the rest happens to be gay. And I as a fan, I could care less about his sexual affiliations. He's a cool guy. As far as people who met him, he's a great ambassador for the LGBT community, and I'm a supporter of the LGBT community. Let's put that out there as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I am
the fact
too.
the fact that he's gay has zero to do with his in-ring ability, and that's the way it should stay. I mean,
yeah.
You don't see, and this is for something that I like WWE for right now, is that they're not pushing him as the gay wrestler. Unfortunately, there are people out there who will now just see him as the gay wrestler, which is stupid.
Yeah. My thing is like, and I probably get a lot of hate for it, but it's like, if you have just because you have a dress on, but you have a penis, I mean, you're a dude then, I mean, like, I know a lot of people are trying to go towards where gender is more of a mental thing than a physical thing, which I think is kind of ridiculous, because it's like, at the end of the day, I say whatever chromosomes you have, that's whatever gender you are, even if you do cut your penis off, I guess, Well,
the thing about it is, though, is that your DNA, I mean, you can change what that is. You can go in and you can have hormone replacement therapy. That is a thing. And
well, everybody can have more estrogen or more testosterone, but I don't think you could actually change like what you were born. Like, that's like genetic editing and stuff. I don't think we're at that point yet.
But it's still the point of your legal gender changes, and that is something I really don't mind. I mean, your legal gender as it stands is, is changeable, is in my opinion, fluid. I think we have a large disconnect to generations currently because everyone's like, well, back in my day, men were men and women were women, and that's the way it should stay. To me and the people that I know, the people that have my life, that isn't cut and dry. And I have a very hard time believing it's been cut and dry in the past. Especially if you go back in time to older and older civilizations that had all these classes of people repressed. How do we know that gay, lesbian, transgender weren't repressed in those eras as well? We just happen to be living in this era where we're finally catching up to physiology. We're actually catching up to things that have existed for millennia, including homosexuality, which a lot of people really don't want to hear this, but everyone's like, well, animals aren't gay. Bull. As a matter of fact, there are species of animals that, depending on what happens during the mating process, one of those animals, like I can't remember which one it is, but both members of the mating party start off as male, and the loser becomes female and bears the spawn. So,
yeah, dogs don't hump anything.
I mean, animals on a physiological level and on a mating level start off pretty much as gay, and then it becomes a transgendered issue. So these type of things happen in nature, and the fact that humans can't accept that it actually applies to us because we are animals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those type of issues that have existed in our society is really just a societal issue. Us as a society need to accept that there are people who are not, quote unquote, of the norm. To which point I say, what the hell is normal anyway? The 50s nuclear family does not exist, and honestly, I don't believe ever existed, if we're being honest here. So,
right. I'd like to point out though too, not all the letters of the LGBT support each other 100% of the time. A lot of the gay people don't because being transgender, I think, is the most extreme out of all of those, and not a lot of the other bisexual or transgender or gay. Support transgenders and everything, because being gay or bisexual, that's just really who you like,
Well, and that is what it is. I know people who are like that. I know that there are actually gay and lesbian people who belong of either group that don't enjoy the other group. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
And it's just, society and then sublets of that society as well. However, you're in this kind of repressed group together. And I have the opinion that since you're in this repressed group together, you should come together and be a group that supports each other. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean you can't support it. And it's very easy for someone to, hold that repressive type of attitude towards someone else and forgetting that they were in your position once. So,
yeah. If I don't know, I would probably date a woman that was originally a guy if it was at the point where it's you just took a guy's brain and put it in a woman's body, but we're not there yet, and it's a lot of things that trans people try to do, it's not as appealing yet. I don't think it's we're not. I don't think we have the technology where it makes them look that as attractive. I mean, I know there's been certain people that fooled you, but I mean, I hear about some trans people they have physical problems where the whole it's trying to close back up because essentially you're mutilating the body and stuff, and it's that some of that Frankenstein stuff is just it just seems gross, kind of,
You'll never hear me actually judge anyone like that. And that's the honest truth. Every person, as far as their physical makeup goes, it is what it is. And if they make that decision to change to another gender in that fashion, number one, it's not up to me to judge them for doing so. And number two, whatever their physical appearance is, as long as they're happy, no one else should care.
I'm just saying who I would date. I mean, like, would you date somebody that, like, if it was a dude and he's just like he just has a dress on and says he's a woman? I mean, like, how far would you go with that?
Well, and therein lies, the difference too, because if I say in my experience, if it was a guy who was just basically being a transvestite and dressing as a woman, that'd be a little different than actually someone who went through the hormone replacement therapy and actually had the surgery and now has a certificate through the state saying, okay, this gender has been changed. There is a difference as far as the steps that you have taken. Now, that said, and something that's been actually asked of me before, it's like, well, would you date someone who is transgender? Yes. But again, that's a personal thing. Everyone has their differences on that. I myself, I'm a little bit more accepting simply because, like, I wasn't raised as far as this entire thing of, like, my parents are basically friends with everybody. And that's the way I was raised. I was raised to, you don't know anybody else. You don't know what they've been through. And it is a little surprising to still hear, like, well, all they are is just some dude with a skirt on. Come on. It's much more deep. It's much more complex than that. And it will always be more complex than that, just due to the fact of, what they've been through and the steps that they've gone through. Someone may have a gender identity as a woman, as far as your mental, your emotional status goes, until you've went through that process to have that gender reassignment, you're still legally a man. So,
right. But I mean, for a lot of trans people, it's a transition, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a transition period. It really is. If you say to somebody, they are in transition, well, congratulations. You now have a category of what they're in as far as their mental and their emotional and their physical status goes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference between transition and is now.
Right. It's not just like an on or off, I guess.
It's not an on or off type of situation. It's there are some people who, as far as their mental and emotional status is, they have a mental emotional status that they were like a woman, in a man's body or however it is. It's the point of, if someone's going to be upfront, and I've never known somebody to not be upfront about that, as far as people that I know.
I think that's important, is if you're open and honest,
like, honesty in situations like that is the best situation to go with. Honesty is best policy. However, if someone is going to be in transition and, by the way, just to let you know, this is what I'm going through right now. We need to talk about this before we pursue. There you go. Because if you're in transition and you're not going to be honest, that's not a gender issue. That's a personality issue.
Yeah.
And that, to me, matters way more than anything else. If your personality sucks, you suck, period.
Right. And it's also, it gets even more complicated than that, because I don't know what your opinion on those people that believe they're like of the non-binary. thing too, you know.
But again, that's a point of personal respect. You know, if someone's non-binary, they're non-binary, and as long as whoever's dating them can accept that and is cool with it, or if it's there are some people who are like gender fluid as far as their preference goes. I know a couple people like that specifically that are fluid in their preferences. That in of itself is cool. But the thing is, though, is that it's just who they are. You know, if you can't be friends with someone for who they are, then you have no business fronting out to them. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm cool with gay people, but everything after but is no longer applicable. You know, it's you just stop the conversation at but. You know, I know a lot of people are like, well, I just don't want it in my face. Well, you can't apply that label down. You know, I can't remember who it was. It was last year. I knew someone who said, well, you know what? Being gay is cool and all, but you don't have to kiss them in public. Really?
Yeah.
There's someone that I worked with who actually likened two women having a simple peck on the cheek or peck on the lips. They equaled it, and they said this was an equal to someone shoving their hand down somebody else's pants in the middle of a store, being a straight couple. There is no equal there. You have a couple who is being simple and modest versus a couple who is being outwardly vulgar. There is no equality there. There is frugality and stupidity. They are not equal. You know?
Right.
And it just basically came down to the fact that, well, I'm just not cool with them putting it in my face. Well, it's not in your face if you walk by them in the store, they do a peck on a cheek or a peck on the lips. All of a sudden, you're triggered because of that. You know, just because you have a Puritan view and a Puritan lifestyle does not mean you have to force it on other people. There's nobody walking up to you or your spouse or your child or your brother or your sister, your mom or dad saying you have to be gay. Hell no. It's a fact of people who are in the LGBT community just want to be treated as human beings and equal to everybody else. To me, that's all that matters. You are an equal person to me, no matter what your gender is, as far as your fluidity, your binary, non-binary. If you're transgender, don't care. Are you cool? That's the only thing that matters to me. A friend,
right.
Friend or family. It's are you a good person? That's the only thing that matters, because you can have the hottest looking chick on the block, born a woman, now a woman, but if she's a dirtbag, she's a freaking dirtbag. And you know what? You can have a guy who's in transition who doesn't really look the part of a woman just yet, but you know what? The coolest person in the world, and that person is worth more to me than the dirtbag.
So is the moral of the story, it's who you are is more important than what you are.
Exactly. You know? And if that man is in transition to be a woman, guess what? To me, she. Period.
Yeah.
Like, even if, you know, it was somebody who, you know, if it was someone who like, had come up and like wanted to date, let's say if I was single and said, you know, I'd be really interested in dating you. And, you know, I said, okay, well, as far as my preference goes, you don't meet my preference, unfortunately. You know, you are still in transition to be a woman. That is not my sexual preference.
Right.
Cool as that. However, that person, to me, as far as their personal preference goes, would be a she, because they're in transition to being a woman. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Because that, to me, is showing respect to that person for the choice that they've made. That's another thing that a lot of people just refuse to do, is that they refuse to show respect to someone who's in transition and would like to be referred to by the gender pronoun that they are transitioning to. Now, I on a personal level, You know, on a physiological level, you are still a male, but you're in transition to being a female. You know.
Yeah. I think not like everybody. I don't think it's always like a thing where like people are. I don't think all people are like bad people and stuff, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, a lot of this stuff might seem new to them, and like it adds like a certain level of complexity for a lot of people, because like older fashioned people, like they think like they want to think on or off, whereas these new things like trans or non-binary adds so many more levels of complexity to them, and they want to put labels on things and have it broken down into simpler chunks, like, and then you have like I think a lot of people are like, your like marriage is between a man and a woman, because they believe like each thing, like when you're having a wedding and stuff, each thing has its own role. You have a groom, you have to be given away by or whatever as a wife, so that they're used to those ideas of a wedding, from just like the roles and everything.
See, and the thing about that is, as far as your social norms go, a lot of that is self-imposed social norms. When you're talking about like the process of getting married, to start off, number one, your process of getting married is solely, to start with, a society-based agreement. That's all it is. Yeah. The point of throwing religion into it wasn't instituted until so far down the line that it's viewed as one and the same, but marriage is a legal contract first and foremost. Yeah. Your marriage as a religious construct is something that is relatively new to the game, but is now a societal norm that's linked in with the legal contract. There are so many people who are legally married, but don't go to a church. They go downtown to go see the constable or whoever they go see at the courthouse, or judge. They go to a judge. Go to the marriage licenses, get a marriage license, because you need a license to get married. Like you have a license. Like no one, no one says, "Oh, our Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy right to drive." Nobody does that. You know what I mean? Like you have a marriage license, you have a driver's license, you have a business license, and you know what that is? That's all social contracts and legal contracts. You
share bills and an address and everything. You're recognized by the state and everything.
Exactly.
I'm just getting confused about that stuff. Like, like who's supposed to give you away? Like who?
Well, that's just it.
Puts the ring on who and everything? Like all those specific roles and stuff that you're supposed to do in like a typical wedding, which is I thought like that's what people, like a lot of gay people want, is they want the same kind of wedding, don't they? I mean, so it's like a lot of people get confused on that.
Here's what a lot of people want. You're married. Boom. That's it. Like all these ring bearer and all this stuff. And that's really what it is. It's stuff. It's included stuff in the contract. It's the ceremonials, and it's this and it's that, and it's all this compartmentalized into a religious ceremony. Let's not kid ourselves. All this stuff was created as this great sacrifice of individuality that some people call it. It's no longer an individual. It's a group. It's a duo. It's a unit. It is. Yeah. Honestly, it really kind of is actually a sacrifice of individuality when you stop to think about it for a moment. You no longer think about one person, you think about two, and that two people operate as one. However, the entire giving away and all that is a religious construct. When you separate the legal contract from the religious construct, there's really a 5-minute ceremony. Who are you? Who are you? Do you agree? You married. Have a nice day. Give me $50 for the license. Enjoy your life. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
The way it is.
Once you start the thing with the religious things is, it's supposed to be like coming together of two different types of things. I think with the religious aspect, I guess,
And again, that religious aspect is something that has, permeated the culture over the years. Again, most people, when you stop and think about it, the people who landed here in the United States, these were the people who were too extreme for the English church. Think about that. There's a reason why they called them Puritans. It's very puritanical, very, solemn, and, it's very, reserved. And unfortunately, it's still something that exists in our society where everyone wants it to be just, oh, your personal life is your personal life, and you just you file it away, and it's but we won't speak about that. We don't speak about those things. Like no, a lot of the stuff that people want to be known needs to be out in the open. There are so many things going on in this world that people have just tossed to the side over the years. That, I mean, really? I mean, it's these types of kind of puritanical thoughts and situations where people assume that it's not to be talked about and not to be brought up is what make people revolt and go against the norms. That's why every single generation has this subset of people who are the anti-establishment, the anti-everything, because we live to question everything. That's what we're meant for. Us as humans, we don't follow rules very well.
Right.
So following this rule of everything is this way, and you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Why? Well, because you just shouldn't. It's wrong. Well, who told you? I mean, who called you? Big fuck Don. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and listen to some guy tell me that something is wrong or something is inherently wrong when you can't give me a good damn basis to back it up. You can't explain to me why it's wrong. It's just, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I've had like arguments with other people about it. Like, I think I've heard like other people are saying, "Oh, well, you're not really helping the species because you're not having children. You're not perpetuating the species or whatever."
I think on that level, people aren't thinking of the big picture when they say that. Because number one, this world is actually overpopulated as it is. It's the truth. The world as a whole is overpopulated, and to think that we exist just to live on in the next life, or to put our last name on somebody else, that in and of itself is trivializing our existence. Oh well, you only get with somebody to pass on your last name and pass on your genetic makeup.
Yeah, my grandfather said the only purpose of having sex is to have kids. Doesn't believe in condoms or anything because he's Catholic.
And my mom said it best, because my mom went to a Catholic school growing up. Catholics don't celebrate your religion; you mourn it.
Right.
You want to talk about like mournful? You want to talk about mournful? Go to a Catholic funeral once. And go to a Catholic wedding. You go to a Catholic wedding, you feel like you're at a funeral because you're like, is God ready to kill me now? I mean, and not hating on my Catholic brethren out there, but I mean, I understand that people have religion and people have their opinions about why we do what we do. But our evolution speaks otherwise. Our evolution tells us that this generation and the generation coming and the generation after that, and however it goes, exists to not perpetuate past norms and to perpetuate misconceptions of the past. It's to expand what we know and how we learn and how we engage each other. I don't think it's a word I'm looking for. I don't think it's a coincidence that the internet exists at this point in time in our lives. I don't think it's a coincidence that the growth of so many movements, the civil rights movement, the women's liberation movement, the LGBT movement, I don't think these things happen by chance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Let's be real. Number one, I have full belief there is God. There's nobody on this earth that can shake that.
You what?
I have full belief there is a God, and there is no way anybody can ever shake that. And I'm willing to put it out there that not only do I believe there's God, I know there's a God. Trust me when I say I know there is a God. There is nobody out there that could ever tell me different, because I just know. I just know. There have been too many quote unquote coincidences in my life that are not coincidences, that have happened for a reason, to ever tell me that there is not a God. I think he has fun with us. Let's be honest. We're amusing. Our species is very amusing sometimes. That being said, the things that are happening as far as our evolution goes, and the way that we are working to evolve, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually, are things that exist and are existing and are being brought to the forefront because we need to progress. And keeping people in boxes and keeping people in these little segments does not progress at all.
Well, you're right that we shouldn't just focus on like the physical part. There's, like you said, there's way too many. I don't know if I want to say there's way too many people, because like I'm a believer of the thing. Like, I think we should, if we can go into outer space, I think we should just populate the whole universe if we could. But I do think we have all these people on the planet. Like, we should. There's so many people that don't have parents, and that are like, every child I believe is born probably has somebody that would love to have them. And it's like, we need to focus on each other, like helping each other and everything, just living that kumbaya type of stuff. I guess we do need a little bit more of that, I think,
Well, it's not even kumbaya. It's just
like, we need a little bit more hippie stuff, I guess.
Not
need more hippies,
stuff.
Doug.
We need more intellectual discussion.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there who just base their entire lives on what some dude with a book told them, and what that dude with the book got from this book. That, depending on the book, could have been revised 10,000 times. There's, I've said this before. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a religious person. I haven't subscribed to a particular religion for most of my life. However,
yeah, I believe religion is politics. It's a cartel, man.
Yeah, it's the fact that we, like I said, you can't tell me there's not a God out there. You can't tell me there's not a God out there, but there's a gross misunderstanding of it.
Yeah, it's better to bow down to God, though, than like the Pope or whatever, who thinks, knows everything, I guess.
I don't know. It's just our evolution needs to get past, just riding the normal, and that goes for all facets, not just sexuality. It's more societal and on how we treat each other. I mean, we treat each other horribly sometimes just because someone doesn't look the same as us.
I was made fun of for just having bad vision when I was a kid. I mean, just not even like, what was it, like 30, 40 years ago? They were pretty much straight up torturing people in like mental facilities just for acting a certain way or not being as smart, I mean, people that are just like thrown away from society have had horrible things happen to them. And it's not that long ago,
Yep. And that's the one thing that most people just can't.
Did you ever see that film Suffer the Children or whatever? That documentary on that Penhurst asylum?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Sorry, but go on. You were talking.
Yeah. No, it's just the fact that, there are so many people who just don't understand that what's the word I'm looking for? We have a lot of people who assume that society is just so much better now and don't recognize that we have inconsistencies in the past. Everyone just assumes that, oh, well, we're so much farther than we were 20 years ago. Are we really? It's one of those things where you're like, well, we're not really. And people are still treating it like it's the 60s and the 70s. We're only 40 years plus out of the civil rights movement. And people are treating it like it's 100 years ago, and there's still not problems,
Yeah. Well,
and being actually presented with the problems, like, oh, well, that's an isolated incident. Really? Isolated incident or not, it still exists, and it still something needs to be stomped out. It's a simple fact of people not paying attention when they need to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I myself have sort of like an anti-establishment slant a lot of times because, like, I'm not one of those people that puts like 100% of trust in the government or everything, because the government, we've had to have like people that protested and stuff in the civil rights movement. I mean, they had like government. Have you ever heard of that MK Ultra, where they try to test mind control and all those drugs and stuff on like homeless people and people that were thrown away from society? I mean, our government actually did that stuff. That's, it's, everybody knows that now. And like the government has done all that other stuff that we've had to have our rights given to us, just like from protesting and stuff. And I mean, the government can do wrong,
It's not even government related. I mean, you take a look at YouTube as a whole, you take a look at Twitter as a whole, and there is a definitive amount of just scumbags out there. And being completely honest, there's a lot of scumbags out there, It's those people are just like, really, like, you're going to make excuses for people who have no excuse for their behavior. So,
I mean, like, look at the FCC now with the government. They want to get rid of the net neutrality and stuff. So that's pretty much like a mini civil rights movement there people are having on the internet right now.
I would not liken net neutrality to civil rights movement. Well, I would not do that. That is not even. That's just something completely different, my man.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that the FCC has corrupt people in it, though, too. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the government isn't is made of people too. So there's, like you said, there are people that are corrupt everywhere in parts of society, you know.
Yeah, but the thing you also have to realize about that is that when you're talking about FCC versus institutional racism, two totally completely different things. They don't even gravitate on the same wavelength. You know, I mean, you're talking about internet speeds and internet fast lanes versus, you know, people who are killing other people because of the color of their skin. You know, that's.
Well, I mean, the
completely different.
Net neutrality has to do with your freedom of speech. Also, like you don't have any net neutrality anymore. Then a lot of people saying that a lot of people are going to be censored and stuff. Then, you know, so it'll be like you might lose your First Amendment, I guess. I mean, a lot of people believe your First and Second Amendments are like one of the most important rights that you have.
But the thing you also have to realize is that there is a difference between your standard First Amendment rights of free speech and death. And also how, you know, creating internet fast lanes to get to an article that already exists on the internet is not particularly stifling free speech. It's stifling a person's access to an article or a video. You know, that's still not the same type of situation that you're looking at here. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, some people are saying like this YouTube stuff, that's all about trying to censor people too. The ad apocalypse and everything.
That's more about stupid people doing stupid things. When you really stop to think about it. Stupid people doing stupid things, like actually talking that KKK shit on this channel, you know, as far as YouTube goes. If someone's going to talk that mess, someone's going to shut them down because they don't want to have their adverts on a video that's talking that trash. You know what I mean? The thing about it is that many people are now using apocalypse as a crutch to espouse, well, no, I can't make a living anymore using YouTube. Well, what's your content like? You know what I mean? I mean, I know we were talking about the Casey Neistat versus YouTube type of deal, but the thing you also have to realize is, you know, like for instance, kind of going over, if you guys haven't heard, Casey Neistat did a video about Vegas, and then Jimmy Kimmel had a video on his channel talking about Vegas. Neistat's video was demonetized, and Kimmel's kept ads on it. So everyone's like, well, it's, you know, they're clamping down on smaller YouTubers, blah 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 blah. Well, guess what? You also have someone who's being backed by corporate sponsors versus someone who is backed by maybe a network of a smaller amount of people that doesn't have corporate sponsors. You know, same with like guys like Philip DeFranco. It's this entire thing of, you know, yeah, it does suck that, you know, you're being demonetized for talking about a particular subject, but the simple fact of the matter is the person who still has their ads has millions of dollars of corporate backing that already has adverts as it is, because they're a nighttime daily talk show that has that type of a pull to keep that type of monetary option going. That's not YouTube adverting you. That is a corporation adverting a talent. So the difference between Casey Neistat and Jimmy Kimmel are so vast and so extreme. You're literally looking at two extremes of media on the same platform, that Casey Neistat honestly has like zilch to do with Jimmy Kimmel in the space of advertiser revenue and advertiser existence, period. You see what I mean?
Or are you saying that they're like they're like apples and oranges, you can't really compare them or something?
You can't really compare someone who is an independent YouTuber someone who does their own marketing, someone who does their own work, someone who uploads their own videos, does their own editing, makes the entire process on their own, and only has specific sponsorship by being a YouTube partner, by going through YouTube to get their advertisement going, okay? And maybe has a network behind them, okay? So that network doesn't broker any deals. That network doesn't broker anything else for the content creator, except for maybe get their video out there via viral marketing. Versus Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel is an employee of, what is it, ABC, I think it is. ABC is a multi-million-dollar conglomerate who has their own advertisers, who has their own editors, who has their own entire system built to prop up this one person who also happens to have a video on the same platform. It is not the same. Not even close to the same.
Well, they might not be like the same type of like media, I guess, but
well, it's not just also type of media too, you know?
Well, I think that a lot of people are complaining because they were both trying to use the same system, and the same system favored one over the other because he got to keep the AdSense or whatever. I think I don't know like all the YouTube like how you make money, but he kept the same AdSense and the other person didn't. You know,
it's the way the system goes. You know, they're under no accountability, and rightfully so, might I add. And this being a YouTube content creator myself, YouTube creators are individuals, not companies. We don't.
Well, you can call yourself a company as an individual, though, can't you?
If you really wanted to do that, but also even if you wanted to go that route and call the individual YouTube content creator a company, this company has no advertiser revenue directly. This company does not have multi-million-dollar backing. This company does not have the type of infrastructure behind me to make the same demands and to do the same things as Jimmy Kimmel does. Not only does Jimmy Kimmel and ABC, which I think it's ABC, like I said, ABC not only has its own multi-million-dollar marketing behemoth behind him, they have their own advertisers, which could possibly mean that the same advertisers that he runs or is working on running through ABC also get an extra cut by running their advertisement through the YouTube. You see what I mean? His entire company, the company that backs him, does everything on his behalf. They broker deals. They work on advertising. They work on marketing. It's literally one person versus thousands. And that thousands of person company outweighs not only in money spent, money raised, and money advertised for than the one person who spends, 3 hours a day editing and content creating as far as getting it to YouTube and getting it out there. He may, Casey Neistat may have like 5 million, whatever it is, subscribers on his channel, but I guarantee you that Kimmel and ABC has tens of millions of backers behind them as a whole. The situation versus the little guy versus the big guy is one of complexity that the difference is monumental. And people just can't seem to grasp that.
I just think it's kind of hypocritical, though. Like, if McDonald's, if McDonald's is so offended by these types of things and you're getting demonetized, like I guess it's like they're hypocritical because if they really were trying to stand against these types of content, they shouldn't allow it on either. Then, you know. Like, just because you're kind of saying, hey, it's okay if you have if you're so big, you can be in the pockets or be in bed with other companies because you're a big company too. You know, is that kind of what you're saying?
That's the way corporate is. It's just the way that it is. It's simply corporations deal differently with other corporations than they do with individuals. Unless you're an individual who works for that company. You see what I mean? It's like corporations are probably working out specific deals to do specific things on YouTube. and they go to YouTube and say, okay, we will advertise on this channel's specifically. We want you to put McDonald's on the Jimmy Kimmel channel. You don't see me go to McDonald's try to broker those deals because I got the tab pull. And what's it really going to do? You know what I mean? If I go to YouTube, I want to be with this company for you know what? If I'm going to do that on my own, I'm going to run my own personal ads as far as maybe end cards or starter ads like Linus does on his channel. But that's the thing too, is that, you know what? If you broker your own advertisement deals, like a lot of the other YouTubers do, you're fine. Because
that part's different.
You get that direct advertising revenue because you brokered those deals. How does anybody know that the Kimmel thing doesn't broker those types of deals just to run specific ads on the Kimmel channel?
Well, I don't know I don't think people were complaining specifically about his own ads or sponsorships or whatever, but they were complaining about the ones that goes through YouTube.
Well, again, there are some content creators who, number one, when they go through the system to actually have their videos monetized, they are abiding by your standard partner contract. And let's not kid ourselves here. You're telling me that your content creator license, your partner status through YouTube is the same as a corporate contract? Think about that. You're telling, if someone's like, well, the big channels like ABC and CBS, they're not treated with the same effectiveness as the small YouTubers. So you're telling me that they get the same cut, they abide by the same rules, and they don't have the same leeways that we do? A corporation signing a deal with YouTube is the same as a content creator partner agreement.
Well, I know it doesn't hold up as much in court because you're not actually signing documents and stuff like that.
Exactly. So if someone is actually they're going to complain about the big YouTubers versus the small YouTubers, you're assuming that they abide by the same rules, the same agreement, and the same content creator agreement that the smaller guys that do. You're telling me that ABC and Casey Neistat are on equal ground. Equal ground. Remember that. You're telling me that if they're being held to the same standard as far as content creator status goes, that they are on equal ground. They're being advertised the same. They're being pushed the same. Their views are being fed into the algorithm the same. Let's be honest here.
I mean,
there is no chance they're the same. No chance they're the same. It hasn't been the same since day one. It hasn't been the same since day today, because big corporations pay, and big corporations will pay YouTube to put their stuff on YouTube and then gain that advertising revenue back and funnel back to them. They have specific deals in place with YouTube. Why? Because YouTube is a business. And let's also not forget that the fact that we get to make money on YouTube is a privilege in and of itself, because they sure as hell don't have to pay us a damn dime to start off with. That was just something they did out of the goodness gracious of their hearts. And believe you me, this isn't jock jacking, but it's the truth. It's a fact that we didn't have to get paid. As a matter of fact, YouTube hasn't made a dime off of us. You know why? Because they pay out at a 60-40 rate. A 60-40 rate basically keeps us happy. And actually, YouTube hasn't made a dime. They haven't turned a profit in how many years? I don't think YouTube's ever turned a profit. Most people forget that.
Well, why don't you think that they're making a profit from the?
Because they're spending so much, a 60-40 clip, to pay the content creators and to upkeep the servers that keep YouTube going. I can tell you without a shadow of doubt, without not even looking at YouTube's books, that YouTube spends out more money in server upkeep than they do to anything else, because of the simple fact that so many thousands of people are creating videos on a daily basis, are uploading videos on a daily basis, and also content creators coming in and then starting that cycle again too, and then that also turns into more and more partners being approved at a faster clip than ever before because of the availability of YouTube. All these factors go into the simple fact that we make more money than YouTube does. And a lot of that also is going to the corporate partners too, as far as advertising revenue goes. I don't believe the advertising revenue for the big companies is the same as us either. They're probably making that 70-30. Let's just be honest. Why? Because they're bigger, larger corporations with a larger amount of backing. Most people, when they complain about YouTube, they don't think about these things because it's all about me and me putting my stuff out there, and I'm so sad. And because like, you know what? Businesses change. Everything changes about every single business that you're in. You know, if you were working at an MC Sports 3 years ago, do you think you'd be out of a job right now? Hell no. But guess what? You're out of a job today because the company had to grow, adapt, and change and couldn't. If you worked for Kmart, a Kmart that closed 6 years ago, were you expecting to be out of a job today? No, you weren't, because the system did not grow and change to meet what was needed. And now with the adpocalypse, YouTube had to grow and change, and some people got kicked to the dirt and got kicked into the dust. Why? Because what happened to their business model had to change because of events that happened. And unfortunately, for people who did not have a sustainable backup, now they're faced with the reality of having to go get a real job. And I know a lot of people out there are going to hate that, because in my entire 6 years on YouTube, you know how much I made paid out to me?
Well, it's not really mine or the audience's business, I don't think.
No, it's underneath $500. You know why? Because I don't treat this as a primary job. Even at the point a couple years ago when I was trying to make it my job, when I was trying to create consistent content every single week at 2 or 3 videos at a clip and try to push that content out there, my views weren't going up, and I lost disinterest, you know. And the fact is that not a lot of us make it to that 4 or 5 million views like Casey Neistat does. He's complaining about a video when he's got 5 million viewers who barely watch his videos because he can't keep up. He can't. It blows the mind to think that, oh man, internet celebrities will drop off over time. It's almost like it's true, because it is. This entire system, as it stands right now, is going through that perpetual change that has to exist.
Yeah, but Doug, don't those people that do 5 million? They have to. They're pretty much working for. Let's not kid ourselves. YouTube is the content creators. It's us, you know, and the people, our viewers and stuff. Those are the people that we really, at the end of the day, should be working for. That's who we have to make videos for. And if it wasn't for the content creators, YouTube just wouldn't be anything, you know. YouTube doesn't really do much on its own, you know. Just provide a framework.
But you know what? You see more and more people saying, well, I have to compete with the big boys. I have to compete with ABC and CBS and all these other stuff. And now I have to compete with YouTube because YouTube's doing another thing and I don't get money off of this. It's like, you know what? If you're concerned about your content not getting out there and your content not being consumed, a lot of YouTubers have become massively complacent in putting out crappy videos over the past year or so, because they're struggling. They're like, oh well, I all I did was a vlog today about walking around the city, and all of a sudden it only got 50,000 views. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make rent this month. Do you see where I'm going with this? Content creators on YouTube have become so complacent. This entire situation of people, I create 3 videos a week, and those 3 videos only do 50,000 views. They used to do 1 million views, and like you can't put this entire YouTube thing, this entire content creation thing, as your main eggs in a basket forever.
Well, it's hard for people not to, like, if you're making, like, if you have 5 million, 10 million subscribers and you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, why the fuck else would you want to do anything else, you know? I mean,
because reality has to set in. Nobody is an internet darling forever. Go ask MySpace. Nobody sees change until change is there, and then all of a sudden they're surprised and they're, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I'm gonna have to pare back, and I'm gonna have to not do this, and then you know what? A lot of those people who have lost views as far as the adpocalypse or how the algorithm goes, you know what they do? They grow and they change. The people who are truly into this and are all in on all cylinders, they do other things to keep themselves going. People get Patreons. I've thought about doing a Patreon for this, but I'm not going to think about doing a Patreon until I can make more consistent and leveled out videos and make sure that I can, have at least maybe one first taste a week, or actually be able to schedule out videos and stay on that schedule. Because there are people out there who've got 5 million views who haven't done a video in 3 weeks and wonder why they're not making as much money.
Right, but then there's also those 5 million subscriber channels that do have to, they try their hardest to make a video, like multiple videos sometimes a day, and it's like, that's a full-time job. That's almost like a job and a half, just trying to do all that stuff, and it's like, what else do you do?
It's not just multiple videos a day. If you're working that algorithm to its maximum potential, you're making at least 1 to 3 videos a week with a long amount of minutes. Or if you're going around that style of doing multiple videos a day, a lot of people do that jump cut shit, which pisses me off. Your style and with the way that you do things, you paint yourself in that corner. You paint yourself in that corner. I gotta do this video and I gotta do that video. Blah, 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 blah. The part of the reason why I do long scale videos with just me talking half the time is because that's my style. And you know what? If I ever decide to change that style, I have to be prepared for the backlash of people saying I don't like it. Congratulations. Now you hit that wall, and now you have to deal with it because you painted yourself in that corner. You have set yourself up for this type of situation to happen in your life. You have to grow. You have to change. You have to adapt to your situation as an internet personality. And the fact of the matter is that if you cannot grow and change and adapt to how you are as a personality, your game's over. Period. Your game is over. Done. Finito, man. Most people are like, I'm only doing this much money. Well, guess what? Like, this is one thing that just surprises me sometimes, is that all they do is put out videos. They do nothing else. Like, well, have you ever thought about putting out a t-shirt? If you're just a blogging channel, like, do you have other interests? If all you're doing is, like, for me, when I started kind of losing a little bit of interest, I went from doing strictly tech. I did a little bit of bodybuilding stuff, and then I did this, and then I did that, and then I did First Taste, and then I started doing the CrushCast Live on here a couple years back on my other channel, which I've since dropped. But it's these type of things that if you feel that you're stagnating, you have to come up with a way to keep yourself interested and keep yourself engaged. Otherwise, the game is over.
Right.
Period. There is nobody out there who's going to watch someone do the exact same damn thing every single damn day of their life and expect not to get bored at some point.
Well, it depends on the kind of content you're creating. Like a lot of those Let's Players and stuff, they do multiple videos a day where it's the same type of thing, and people just keep coming back to it,
And you know what? At some point, people are going to stop watching those.
You think Let's Playing is going to die eventually?
Let's Play has a ceiling. And that ceiling, I think, is very close to being met. Because now everyone's into Let's Plays. I've done a couple Let's Plays here and there. And you know what? Unless you're an extreme guy like, yeah, what do you got? I mean, seriously, you're sitting there, you're playing a game that someone else probably hasn't played yet. How is that engaging to the audience? how is that long term a really good idea unless you're commenting on what you're playing? Unless your name is like Jim Sterling or somebody like that who can effectively run commentary on a game that you're playing, you have very little to add. And most of those Let's Players roll. They roll. Like you have a very small amount of people who are effective in being able to turn it into something that lasts more than a year.
Well, let's face it, you go to a Let's Play mainly to hear their commentary and their reactions and stuff. That's what sets them apart from other things, you know. But PewDiePie is his worst enemy because he's shooting himself in the foot left and right all the time, you know.
That's the thing, is that some people just don't know when to actually, you know, some people don't know when to shut up as far as, you know, their views go. And people say, well, I just made a mistake and I acted like an idiot. Well, guess what? Eventually, people are going to get sick of you acting like an idiot and saying stupid shit. Period. It's just the way that it is. You know, eventually, people are going to be like, well, for instance, Jason Genova. You probably haven't heard of him. He's a bodybuilder who, I believe he's slightly autistic, I believe, or something along those lines. He's basically been working to try to become a pro bodybuilder to get his pro card for the IFBB. And they call him the Piss Lord or something like that. And he puts out Order 66s on people all the time. Or he was putting out a lot. And like every single time he does something like an Order 66 or talks bad about somebody, it gets out to the press. The internet has a field day with it because they love the drama. That's another thing that caught on for a long time was like drama YouTubers. But it's always just conflict with this guy, conflict. And when Rich Piana went to a coma earlier this year, he put out a video stating, you know, glad you're dead because you never collabed with me. And that went, you know, it hit the fan. And from
you really said that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. It was well, in the fitness community, it was all over the place because Rich was in pretty dire straits, and he actually ended up passing away not too long afterwards. But the moral of the story is that eventually it got back to his camp, and his camp was pissed, you know. And it's this entire thing of he had said some things in the past that weren't cool, and it didn't go over well, and that was like one of the final straws, saying, you know what, you're off the team. You know, and now he's back to being independent and still working on trying to get his pro card, and more power to him. I am all for him, though, trying to chase his dream. But YouTubers who gain a lot of popularity like this, a lot of times pop off at the mouth with no mental thought of, okay, what'll happen if I put this up? You know what I mean? And perhaps Jason was a little bit of a extremity there because, I mean, like I said, I believe he's slightly autistic, and you know, he a lot of times he means well in a lot of stuff that he puts out there. However, he needs a filter. Most YouTubers, let's be honest, need a filter half the time, but it's just he needs more focus in his life overall, I think. But I think that could also be said the same for how many other YouTubers who do idiotic and stupid things and then don't take the consequences of those seriously enough. You know, I saw some of the footage where, like right after he said the piano stuff, you know, I saw some of that footage where he's like, uh-oh, like he was legitimately concerned. You know, and sometimes that's the wake up call for a lot of people. When like you don't get to see, you know, that meeting that they have with the corporate sponsor or whatever, and all of a sudden that's gone. Your subscriber count dipped. This happened. I mean, just look what happened to the Fine Brothers a couple years back when they ran their mouth off about the React videos. I mean, if you want no other obvious example, the Fine Brothers are it, and they are nowhere near as big as they used to be in the YouTube community because of how they treated everybody else trying to, copyright React videos.
Right.
And then they did the whole little bit deeper by coming out with the video. Oh, we didn't mean it. No, we didn't try to. Like, no, you did. Shut up. It's that type of thing, and those types of actions. A lot of YouTubers right now are acting really entitled to their jobs. Really entitled. There are not a lot of YouTubers that I consider YouTuber to be their primary job, and that's the truth.
Right.
Overall, I don't consider YouTube a real job. And I've pumped, time and effort into coming up with things to try and things to do and, taking time out of my day. And I'm not even talking about just in standard as far as shooting videos and whatnot. I'm talking about coming up with video ideas, brainstorming with other YouTubers, people that I know to try to do A, B, C, and D, and E. You know what I mean? It's these types of actions and things that people do that just blow it up for themselves.
Well, you don't believe YouTube is not just YouTube. I mean, if you've ever watched our TNT show, we've had an argument before. I think on one show specifically where maybe on multiple. I don't know where you pretty much said any type of, I guess anything without a paycheck, like a regular paycheck, isn't a real job, pretty much.
And yeah, basically, anything without your standard steady paycheck is not a real job. And I stand by that for one simple reason. And it's for one simple reason. I could put out a video tomorrow that gets 1 million views.
$1 million from it.
I can make $50,000 from that video.
Right, probably closer to that, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, well, you know what I mean. I can make $50,000 off a video that I put out tomorrow.
And that's real money, real world money. You can do stuff.
Yeah, that's real world money. And I have got paid from YouTube before. Let's not misconstrue that. Oh, he never made a buck in his life. I have gotten paid by YouTube before. But if you're telling me that I can make a video that goes viral tomorrow, and never make another dime from YouTube ever again, even if I'm putting in 40 to 80 hour weeks editing and putting videos on YouTube, you're telling me that I'm going to be able to live for the rest of my life off of that $50,000 that I made from that one video that I made that went viral and never make another dollar again just because I made money that one time? How many people have gotten a viral video and made the exact same video after that did diddly? Nothing. Made fantastic, engaging videos that nobody watches. I have seen so many videos on this site that are engaging and so fantastic and great, and they never get more than 150 views because you know what? It is not a guarantee. It is never a guarantee. That's the one thing people don't realize. YouTube is not a guarantee. Nothing about this site is a guarantee.
That's pretty much the same as they're doing it. The freelance market. I mean, you could say the same thing about anybody that does independent contracting, like roofers, construction, people that do any kind of house maintenance or anything. I mean, they're not guaranteed a paycheck next time, even though they do the same quality thing.
The thing you got to realize about most freelancers in those skilled trades, that's something else. If you're going to be working on somebody's roof, do you have to get a certification to do so? I think you do. If you work as a freelancer in a lot of ways, a lot of those freelancers are also skilled trades. Well,
it depends on the industry, and I think recently in this past decades, they've been making more and more types of industries have to get certain certifications and everything.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, video editing and all that stuff. That's still I think YouTube is a skill though. YouTube editing and all that stuff. You don't think so?
YouTube is not a skilled trade. If I wanted to dump in, 30 to 40 hours a week of doing just 3 videos a week, I could do it. I definitely could. However, there is no guarantee of making money being a really good editor on my YouTube channel versus somebody who went out, applied, got a job, and now has 40 hours a week doing that job.
Was an entertainer or actor? Is that a?
I'm talking in general. I'm talking I'm even talking about jockeying a register at your local Walmart because of the fact that you are hired for a job that you are scheduled for. You come in and you do your time every week, and you know what? At the end of that week, they give you a paycheck. There's no guarantee that after doing this video here, even if this thing does go viral, it doesn't matter because I could catch hell of views off of this one and get nothing else for the rest of my YouTube existence because this is not steady. This is not a guarantee. This right here is not a skill trait. This right here is not a particular specific type of run-of-the-mill job that you have. You know, I could put in 40 hours. I could put in 40 hours a week. Actors, you agree to a fee, then you get the part, and you have to audition for that. How many starving actors are out there right now? How many starving actors are out there right now that have to jockey or register to make ends meet at the end of the week because they don't have an acting gig? How many? Probably thousands.
Are you saying acting is
acting isn't a real job either? Acting is not specifically a real job because of the fact that acting parts are not a guarantee.
What about comedians? Is that the same too then?
Same thing. Just because you put in effort, and you do your best at whatever it is that you do, does not guarantee a paycheck. Does not guarantee you being able to rectify your existence as far as member of society. You know, okay?
So pretty much anything creative you're saying is not a job.
Unless you are contracted or employed on a regular basis by the same company for an extended period of time, it's not really considered a real job. I think that's the one thing that most people just cease to think about. Okay?
So anything with that, you don't need a W-2 for.
Just because you get a W-2 does not mean it's a real job. You get a W-2 for being an actor if you're working for a studio. But you know what?
Right.
You could become an actor, get paid $150 for a stage production, and then never get another gig again. Although you're going and you're auditioning 3 times a week, every single week. But you know what? To be able to pay the rent, you go jockey or register, or you work in a factory, or you do something else, service or private related. A lot of people will seem to think that jobs in the entertainment industry are this kind of what's the terminology I'm working for? So many people will assume that jobs in the entertainment industry are like plug and play. You know, one person walks up, they need the person for this part. Well, that one person who got that part had to sit in a room with 40 other people who look close to or exactly the same as that person with just about as much, if not more talent than that person who got the part. And how many of those 40 people are not going to be able to get that part, have to go home and say, okay, well, at least for X amount of time, I'm going to have to go, hammer a nail. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, so yeah, everyone says that, the entire entertainment industry is a fantastic job. Yeah, it's great. It's a demand style job. Anything entertainment style is a demand style job. You work in the supply version of a demand style job if you are in YouTube. But if you want steady, consistent employment, and I mean steady, consistent employment, you have to go.
You have to be like in somebody's boots, right? Every week or every day. So pretty much anybody.
Unless
you have a boss.
Unless you are in a position, and not very many YouTubers are, unless you are in a position to self-employ yourself permanently, you don't as far as your standard everyday person goes. How is that considered a real job if you are going months without a paycheck while you're putting in more and more effort? How can someone be considered to have a real job as far as your work ethic goes? You can have the best work ethic in the world and never make a dime in YouTube, and that's the truth.
Right. Well, I guess there is a difference between a job and a career.
That's what I'm saying, and the same goes for entertainment. Any type of entertainment. Entertainment is a supply and demand style of position. You know, like the fluctuation of supply and demand in the entertainment sector is so fluid and is so like unrealistic for a lot of people, because there are so many people who will sit there and dump money and dump time into something that they'll never get the money back for. They'll never get the money back. Never, not one. They'll maybe make $100 like I have in doing this. Okay, I have fun doing this. I do this for fun. Most YouTubers do this for fun. Why? Because it's something fun to do. I don't hang my hat on this. I have never attempted to even think about hanging my hat on this, because this right here does not pay the bills. I had one video go viral a couple years back, just for comparative purposes. And let me look it up real quick. Give me a sec here. It's from a couple years back. It's from 2012. So let me actually, while I'm going back, let me go ahead and read off the view count of some of my videos.
Okay.
46, 20, 15, 18, 85, 653, 335, 2.3 thousand, 52, 51, 377, 138, 1.7 thousand, 81, 31, 271, 489, 88, 29, 116, 23, 1.5 thousand. Let's see, 13, 76, 152, 333. Are you seeing a pattern here? 47, 15, 9.9 thousand. 12, 19, 116, 37, 52, 424, 498, 377. And the number one video that I have on my channel is the Xbox One fail rage that went for 13,000 views. That was 4 years ago.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody's really complaining, though, about the instability of that, the kind of industry that you put out as far as video making. I think a lot of people complain about the shortcomings of the middleman, which is essentially YouTube, or the platform that you have to go, that has to go between you and your client, which, as like I said before, is technically your audience.
Well, the thing about it is that if you don't work on your own audience and work on yourself and expect YouTube to do the entire work for you in the end, all you got to do is make the videos. Who's the idiot here? Let's be honest. I mean, if everyone's like, well, YouTube's algorithm won't allow me to get more views, and YouTube does this and YouTube does that, then you must really suck at marketing.
Well, like, yeah, like, I mean, if your video has 1 million views on it, but YouTube decided to monetize it, I mean, like,
hey,
I mean,
but you know
that
what?
sucks, doesn't it?
But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that have rolled with the punches and have, gotten their content to a point where it actually has a steady income, and they're in the top percentile of people who are on average making a decent amount of money. You know how they make a decent amount of money? Patreon, Spreadshirt, Squad Locker, all of these other things, Zazzle. I could, if I wanted to look stuff up, I could. I mean, all these other revenue streams that people like don't think about or don't want to think about, because that involves more effort and more effort than they're used to putting in by putting in 47 jump cuts in a video that's maybe 5 minutes long that will get 3,000 views. Seriously, you cannot expect to be treated with the same amount of respect as somebody who has 5 million subscribers, who gets 1 million views on most of their videos and does half of the work that you do. They just are themselves. You know, everyone's like, well, I put 80 hours a week of work into my videos. What does that say? I mean, if you're just doing something like first taste videos or simple vlogs, you know, number one, sometimes if you're a daily vlogger, put down the fucking camera. Simple as that. You know, your entire life does not need to be tracked and displayed. And that creates more problems for people than they realize in the end, for the simple fact of how many relationships has YouTube killed as far as daily vloggers go. Case in point, prank versus prank. There are pressures that people put on themselves as daily vloggers. And for me, a daily vlog would be like a couple minutes of me talking to people about whatever's going on as far as my day, or something that I experienced, or a particular topic that's come up in casual or obvious conversation that requires a dialogue. And that's something that a lot of people don't get.
Well, Doug, do you remember back like in the early 2000s when the whole fad became with people loving to pretty much have like their whole like house or apartment monitored by camera all the time? Like some people are just like really into that kind of lifestyle, you know?
And those people are stupid. Because you know what? The people who need 100% monitoring, those people faded out. And that entire movement of personal security faded out because of what it entailed and everything that went with that, and you know, all the problems that came along with that. And like some of those people just didn't learn about what your mental stability has to go through to withstand that. And so many people are like, everyone comments, oh, it's so sad about, like, case in point, like I was saying, prank versus prank, Jesse and Gina, one of my favorite people to follow on YouTube, because it seemed like every single vlog was so exciting and so real, and they did so many fantastic things. At the end of the day, in the end, their relationship crumbled and was destroyed, partially because of the environment that they put themselves in by being daily bloggers on YouTube. They felt they felt beholden to the process. They felt like they were required every day to have a super fantastic, super positive, 100% engaging vlog that took 3 hours to film, edit, and upload. And at the end of the day, it cost them pretty much everything because they couldn't keep up with how it affected their relationship and how it affected their lives.
Yeah.
You know, these are things that no one wants to accept and nobody wants to learn from. How many people do daily vlogs and it messes with their lives? How many? And we're like, well, it just comes with the territory. No, it doesn't have to come with the territory, because not everyone leads a super exciting life. Not everyone has to have like, oh, I went skydiving today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna jump off of a train into a vat of chemical ooze. You know, this entire bigger is better mentality that has permeated YouTube over the years is toxic, and most people also don't want to accept it.
Well, can I just say I agree with you though on the you should really be trying to make yourself more of a brand than just YouTube. You know, your brand is pretty much you and who you are and what you stand for. You know, you shouldn't just rely on an automated system. I do agree with that.
And that's one thing that a lot of the YouTubers I follow now, they diversify. Not only do they have YouTube, also a lot of them have real jobs. Because YouTube is a pastime. YouTube is a hobby.
YouTube is side money. Should be side money.
Exactly. Unless you can get it to a point where you can diversify your main usage of YouTube and actually turn it into more of a moneymaker than what you have in the past. Okay?
What was it somebody said? Like, you have to be, if you want to be successful, you really have to make your own luck. You can't be.
Exactly. You can't rely on an algorithm to give you views. You have to be able to reach out, not just in your standard video that you put out every day. You have to market that video. You have to put it out on Twitter. You have to put it out on Instagram, which Instagram is another thing to diversify as far as your money goes. You have to diversify into Facebook. You also have to make sure that if somebody is really following you, you have a large following. Well, guess what? Now you have merchandise to back you up. A real good example of this is Rich Piana. Rich Piana started his YouTube channel for 5% Nutrition. Okay, before Rich Piana even got into this entire game when he was younger, he was already into real estate and had made money. So now he had just come off of being a bodybuilder and was into doing supplements. Well, he initially used the YouTube channel to push the supplements. Well, guess what? Now you have two forms of income rolling in. Your supplement income, because you're selling supplements to a company that you have started yourself, and also you're going through YouTube to assist with that, but also YouTube is giving you money because you now have at least a little bit of advertising revenue to go through off of that. And then also, not only did he have a supplement company along with the YouTube, he also had merchandise on the side. So now not only can you buy the 5% supplements, you can also watch the 5% YouTube. You can also buy some 5% t-shirts and 5% hats and bracelets and shaker bottles. I mean, seriously, and this is something I laughed at first, but then it really kind of sunk into my brain. Rich Piana at one point was selling gallon jugs. Okay? Actually, I'm not even sure. I wonder if it's actually still on the website. Rich Piana was selling water gallon jugs. Okay. Let's see. I'm actually going to go ahead and actually bring this up for you. I'm going to show you guys on the screen if they are still available, because this right here, you want to talk about someone who had vision on branding and marketing and ways to diversify what you're doing with your life. This guy. It's really sad that he passed because he had such a brain for this. It is freaking insane. Let's see. Go into apparel on his website. Let's see.
Well, if you're really good, you could pretty much sell anything. I
mean, here it is. Half-gallon jug. And then there's, straight up half-gallon jugs, okay? These half-gallon jugs had, and I'm not joking with you, I'll show it to you right here. Crap, here it is. See that? That is a 5% half-gallon jug with a red handle, a red cap, and a 5% sticker on the side. You know how much he was selling those for? Actually just went on sale for $9.99 a bottle. You realize that you can get these probably most any other place in the world, $5, maybe $3. They probably cost $3 to produce. All he had to do was put that 5% sticker on the side of it. Sold it for $13. $12.99 was the original price for those. But you know what? That's diversification. That's not putting your money in one simple pot and then expecting it to rain all the time in this one little pot. It's about if you really want that to grow and to become an empire. Like I've been looking into different things as well for my brand myself and what I'm doing. It's about doing more for yourself than just filming, uploading, done. There are people on YouTube who have thousands of subscriptions who are making a decent amount of money, maybe $20-$30 a month. They don't do Twitter, they don't do Facebook, they don't do Instagram.
Yeah, like look at Howard Stern. All of his followers followed him from a free system to a paid, like system, because that was, they believed in him. They believed in his brand and all that stuff,
If you truly and honestly want to become a brand, and you want to become a viable brand, and you want this to be a career and not just a side hustle, you have to expand.
Yeah, but all that stuff is hard, Doug. The social media and stuff. You have to do stuff.
Oh my God, it's so hard. It's so hard to take 20 minutes and come up with an online store. Come on. I mean, I can tell you right now that if I felt like it, I'd go online and I just, which I'm actually in the process of like actually coming up with ideas to come up with stuff for the AphroditesCrush kind of brand, and like I have so many different ideas and things to put on t-shirts and whatnot, and getting into that arena and actually wanting to push that arena even more than what I've pushed the YouTube channel for in the past. But that is something that takes time. It takes more effort than just slathering your face on a video and propping it up online. Yeah. It's these types of things that people don't understand, things that should have been understood from the start, because YouTube, everything on this is finite. Like I said, this is not a real job unless you can expand your brand to turn this into something more viable. But even if it is more viable, it all has an endpoint. At some juncture, either you're going to get sick of it, they're going to get sick of you, or it's just going to slowly taper off and taper down into a situation where you're just forced to, which a lot of people are running into now because of the adpocalypse.
Right?
There are people out there who are saying, well, if I can't get more views and more subscribers and get my YouTube videos to be monetized by the end of the year, I may have to go back to having a 9-to-5. Congratulations, you're with everybody else on that. It's a simple fact. It was a side hustle before. You thought it was 100%. And that's the other thing, too, is that everyone's like, well, I thought this was steady. How is this steady? How? How is this? I fail. I honestly and I truly fail to grasp how anyone can understand how.
Well, it's because I see the success.
But that's just it. Success on a platform such as this is unstable by design. Whether it's YouTube creating extra hurdles to jump through or not,
Well, definitely a gamble. I mean,
and that's part of it too. It's unstable. It is a gamble. Yeah. But it's a gamble that you're coming to the table with no money, and you're playing at the $1 million table every single time you put out a video. You're starting with nothing. Everybody on YouTube, as far as the individual content creator goes, starts off with jack, nothing, zero, zilch, nada. You make no money. You do nothing. All you are is a schlub in front of a camera putting up a video like we are now. And that's the truth. So how can someone make a concerted thought to, oh, well, no, this is steady, nothing will ever happen. I'm making $4,000 a month. It'll never go downhill. Nothing will ever change. Of course, while seeing other people get pissed off and angry because their views have gone down in the past because YouTube has changed the algorithm. YouTube has changed the terms of service. YouTube has changed the way that people view the videos, how long they view the videos. These are all things that have happened in the past that people have blatantly ignored.
Well, it's hard too because some of these aren't just one person, and you have like Linus and all those other big tech YouTubers that they have to pay other people, where it's not just them they have to worry about. They have to worry about paying people that work with them, and that you have the instability and everything,
But the thing is, though, too, is that if you're watching Linus's channel, Linus has actually built a company, and he's not. Well, yeah, he's being smart about it. Yeah, but it's not just building a company off of making YouTube videos. You know, he has actually built a company off of corporate sponsorships, and he's built a company off of making friends within the industry and working with those friends to create better and better content. And
yeah,
there's also other ways of him making that money as well. And not to mention the fact that guys like Linus are generally unaffected by the apocalypse because they don't open their mouths on crap that isn't not advertiser friendly. So he's generally in a safe space on the site because he doesn't mess with the hard situations and the hard issues. This isn't an overarching 100% everyone's screwed type of situation. If you make a channel that is based on running down tragedy and going over other people's misery and talking about serious issues, and you're expecting to make money off of that, you are now learning that time is over. That's another thing that people don't get. Is that instead of just your standard daily vlogging, now people have been going into the drama and the tragedy stuff and making money off of talking about that for so long that now all of a sudden YouTube's like, okay, well, we're putting a stop to that, and now they're complaining.
Well, I mean, like, it's a lot of it too is like you could just have controversial in the title and you'll get demonetized. And let's be honest, you've gotten mad recently about just Nintendo. You saying Nintendo, the word Nintendo, and then Nintendo coming after you. You've gotten angry about that.
That's Nintendo coming after someone about saying the name. That's Nintendo putting out a copyright claim on someone's video because they mentioned the name Nintendo without any type of a media, even someone who is talking about Nintendo as a standard topic goes. That is overarching.
Well, that's the flagging system. That's part of YouTube too, though, Doug.
No, a lot of that is Nintendo going through and actually screwing with people's accounts. That's Nintendo wanting to control what is being said about Nintendo and then trying to fight it when YouTube overturns it. Now, I will say that that YouTube as a whole has also done a little bit of overarching with how the algorithm goes in searching for videos, but there is an appeal system. And as long as your video, as far as your content goes, does not violate the terms of service, as far as your video content goes, you're generally fine. Now, I know a lot of people are upset about that because you know who Boogie2988 is?
Yeah.
He has voiced his displeasure with how they're handling it because they want at least Boogie's corporate link up with YouTube wants Francis to be a little less controversial as far as his demeanor goes. I understand him being a little bit angry about that. However, there is accountability that comes into play as a content creator. We have gone so far without being called out on our content. How many times have you heard someone just go off the rails and there's ads on the video? And I mean completely off the rails, like just popping off at the mouth with everything that whatever deity puts in his head and not seeing any type of a monetary backlash for. Now, number one, your First Amendment rights are not being violated by not making money off of that video. That's first and foremost. And everyone's like, well, it's censorship. No, it's not censorship. You can still hear it. He's just not making money off the fact he's talking so much crap. Number two is that we should have a right to make money off of that because it's still good content. Well, as far as your terms of service goes and your content goes, there are some advertisers who do not want to be placed on something that has that type of content, and it is just as much the advertiser's right to not have to be put on a video that they do not corporately agree with than it is for you to make money. And you know what?
But the two things a lot of people complain about with YouTube is one is the communication. I'm sure you can agree that YouTube has been really poor with communication and appeals and stuff in the past.
How can you not be? How many of us are there? How many of us are there? I mean, seriously. Boogie has a direct link up with YouTube. He has an actual corporate contact with YouTube. How many of us don't have that? Because if they tried to, they go bankrupt in a month. You know? So a lot of times, I'm lucky that the only actual interaction I've ever had with the bot system was for a piece of music that was on my channel for one video. I felt it was fair use. Universal Music Group disagreed. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. So you know what? The system worked as far as it went. I really didn't feel like getting a copyright strike because it was still like infancy YouTube on my part. So I was like, you know what? I'm cool with it. So like it's a simple system. It's a system that's been simple from the outset, and I can't see anybody really complaining about using a simple system in the end. Now,
number two is, though, can I say, Doug, is that there's a lot of inequalities as far as how people are treated, though, on YouTube. You have to admit it is kind of like politics, though, on YouTube.
How?
There has been giving preferential treatments for some people and not others.
Like what? Like, seriously. Like, if you're talking about individual content creators, I have never seen anybody be treated unequal to another individual content creator.
Well, I can't think of the specific examples, but I know that Philip DeFranco has talked about a lot of that type of stuff. And
now,
can I say something, though, going back really quick? I do have one last thing to say about with the Casey Neistat thing. I know you said that Jimmy Kimmel is, like, he has a whole company and stuff behind him. But let's face it, the whole company is revolved around Jimmy Kimmel, and he's no more important than, like, Casey Neistat. And Casey Neistat's message was no less honorable or pure. And I believe that if he would have gotten the monetization, he would have given it to the charity or whatever. And it is unfortunate that those people that could have seen or that's been affected by the shooting, I'm sorry that they're not going to be able to get to see any of that money, which I would think that would have been substantial, though. So it is unfortunate, though.
Okay, there's 2 points to that. First of all, him saying, well, I was going to donate the money to a charity is a little disingenuous after the fact. Okay?
You don't think he was going to donate that money?
It's not that he wasn't going to donate the money. It's the fact that, and people are going to really hate me for this one, it's the fact that all of a sudden it comes out that he was going to donate in his email string with YouTube. So you're telling me that you're using the fact that you're going to use the advertiser money as charity money as a bargaining tool towards YouTube. Do you know how that sounds? Like you're all of a sudden in your playback with whoever the YouTube rep is, you using that as a specific bargaining tool to get your video monetized. All of a sudden that's in play now. I mean, like, am I the only person that sounds like a power play to me? Now all of a sudden YouTube's a bad guy because now they want to apply that individual content creator usage agreement to an individual content creator, and he's pissed off about it. That's number one. Number two, again, you're talking about one person with an entire company behind him. And it's not just Kimmel and everybody else. Kimmel is an employee of a media conglomerate company. Okay? Kimmel is
I understand that, but if it wasn't for Kimmel, there would be no company, though.
Not true. Not true at all. Kimmel is a body. A personable body, let's be honest. but he's a body. He's a body that works for a company that happens to be a comedian.
Well, right, but there'd be no Jimmy Kimmel YouTube channel, though.
If it wouldn't be Jimmy Kimmel, it would have been Jimmy Fallon. Or when Jimmy Fallon could be Conan O'Brien. You could apply this to pretty much every single individual late-night television show that is on television right now, period. It has an entire company and employees and a marketing and legal team behind them. Not to mention a team that probably works hand in hand with somebody at YouTube's corporate office.
I'm just saying this is between Neistat's channel and Jimmy Kimmel's channel.
It's not between ABC. That's not true. Simply not true. It's not just channel versus channel. You're talking about an individual YouTube content creator versus the Jimmy Kimmel Live channel, which isn't run by Jimmy Kimmel. It's run by the corporate company that owns Jimmy Kimmel's show.
Well, you see, I would figure that Jimmy Kimmel would have every say on that channel, though, if it's called a.
But that just means that just means it's his TV show, and what he would like on that YouTube channel goes up. But the simple fact of the matter is, Jimmy Kimmel's e-signature is not on the line for that channel through YouTube. That goes through ABC or whoever it is who produces and backs that television show. Okay.
Right. I'm just saying everybody's saying at the end of the day, no, his video was no less important than Jimmy Kimmel's, though, at the end of the day.
Well, it's obviously what Casey Neistat's trying to say, that just because he's going to donate the money, all of a sudden he should get preferential treatment. That's what he's saying. Well, I'm going to donate the money, so you should monetize it. Well, no, we don't have a policy. And all of a sudden he's pissed about it. So you're telling me that just because now all of a sudden I'm going to donate the money, all of a sudden my video is more important than some schlub who just put up a video 20 minutes ago with the same exact thing about it. So I should get preferential treatment and that guy shouldn't? If we're going to go down that route,
I think people just want equality. Either they both get it or they both don't, though.
Corporate versus individual, who wins?
I can tell you what I think should win.
It doesn't matter. Corporate versus individual in the same space, but with different contracts, different contacts, different context of the type of content that both of those create. It is not equal. It will never be equal. And that's just something that everyone on YouTube and across the internet are going to have to live with. Straight up.
Or they could keep protesting. I mean, if enough people boycott stuff, I mean, things can happen. People can go up against corporations. Corporations aren't gods.
Which also applies to individual content creators.
Right.
Simple fact of the matter is, people come to YouTube not just for individual creators. They come for corporate creators as well. And I'd be willing to think that most of the corporate channels get a little bit more play than the individual channels do. Mm-hmm. And even when we're talking about that,
root on the side of the underdog. That's me, though.
Well, it's not about rooting on the side of the underdog. It's about looking at the reality of the situation and realizing what it actually truly is in the end. As far as what we know about the situation and what we don't know about the situation is a way that it goes one way or another. And the simple fact of the matter is that Casey Neistat is nothing versus a corporation that has a different agreement with YouTube.
Well, you could also say that
everyone thinks it's equal play. It's not equal play. It's never been equal play since day one. And it never will be.
Why shouldn't it be equal play, though? I mean,
because
if you have just as many followers and, like if your brand is just as big as each other, why should a corporation?
You're telling me Casey Neistat's brand is as big as ABC?
Well, PewDiePie's is. He's probably got more. He's got 50 million. You said they have like 10 or 20 followers or whatever. It's all about the followers and how many people. Yeah.
No. I'm not just talking about YouTube. I'm talking about your total 100% worth. You're telling me that even when the top dog, PewDiePie, is even close in any space or imagination to ABC, which, mind you, is owned by Disney, which, mind you, used to be the company that employed PewDiePie and then fired him after he started running his mouth.
Well, if you chain them together, obviously no.
Boom. That means that the conversation as far as the individual content creator versus corporation begins and ends. Because at the end of the day, your content is ultimately bound by your standard terms of service, and whatever your terms of service is versus the person versus the company could be very different. There is quite a large possibility that the agreement that the corporation has with YouTube versus the agreement that the individual has with YouTube are different, and most likely are. Straight up. And that is something that no amount of pissing and moaning at YouTube's doorstep for anybody is ever going to change.
Right, but regardless of who's getting paid or who's making dollar, I mean, isn't it unfortunate, though, that the charity is not going to get money from a source at the end of the day?
By using whatever charity he was describing as a pawn, you think anybody wants that type of side money like that? And that honestly, to me, doesn't have a lot of integrity behind.
Well, regardless of his intentions, like I'm just saying that the net result is
dirty money. I wouldn't want dirty money. There is no charity on God's green earth, a true charity, that's going to want side money from someone who used their charity as a pawn for attention.
Didn't like the mafia and stuff used to like give money to the community and stuff back in the day?
But you're also talking about a completely different sort, because the mafia back in those days also took care of their own. The mafia was started by the families and eventually, in the end, was run out by the families. Now you're talking to a completely different spectrum of family and charity, and also mob and mafia. Back in those days, integrity was something that was integral. You did things by handshake. And if you disobeyed the handshake deal that you made, you got taken care of.
Well, lots of money. You probably have dirty money in your wallet that came from some. I mean, what percentage of money has cocaine on it? I mean, there's money is mixed in the system from everywhere. So I mean, it doesn't matter regardless.
You're also talking about two completely different forms of actual straight up coming from the source money. If I worked for a company that was dishonest and had no interest in the general good of what they were doing, I would quit. Why? Because I don't want my money coming dirty. There's a reason why I don't work in the type of retail that makes you run off of commission, because I consider commission-based jobs to be dishonest in many cases, because you're basically thrown into a results-only type of situation. And if I ever was in that type of situation by force, as far as like the company I worked for, all of a sudden switching to that, I'd be out. Because that is not the type of integrity that I as a person go by. Because in my personal view, I would view that as a dishonest way to make money, because it becomes about the result and less about the customer. Okay. So looking at this from all money is dirty is a zero-sum game. You can't win. But
you're trying to compare, though, like somebody that was sort of a dick about the way he's using money to like other people getting, like blood money and stuff. Like those aren't the same things.
Hey, yeah, you brought out that connection, not me. You're want to talk about the mafias and stuff. And I'm telling you that mafias and mobs had a lot more integrity than most people have today, straight up.
But do you think a starving kid is going to care where the money is going to come from, though?
I think the person handing out the money that came from somebody who was dirty is going to care a lot more, too.
Why does it matter I guess really what does it matter where money came from if you can transform it into something
Wait a second. So you're telling me, and we're actually having this conversation. So you're telling me that if some schlub walked up to someone who's rich on the street, broke their kneecap, took $500 out of that person's pocket, and delivered it at your doorstep, you'd accept that money?
No, I probably wouldn't. But that's
exactly.
I would.
Oh, well, the person getting the money wouldn't care where it's coming from. If you were handed $500 and $100 bills and it said, "Oh, well, yeah, I just knocked that dude out to get it," would you take it? Because if we're not caring where the money's coming from here, if we're really not caring where the money's coming from, that's exactly primarily what you're telling me right now, that you would not care if someone knocked out your neighbor and gave you their money. Come on now. Let's the brass tacks down here, because we're obviously that's the route we're going. If we're going to go back, we might as well go forward.
No, but lots of things in this world have been transformed from something bad to something good, though. That's all I'm trying to say.
So that's the route we're going. See, no, it don't work that way.
Why can't it work that way?
Because on a ethical level, if someone is willing to take something that was obtained unethically or illegally, you are complicit in that activity. Ethically. If I in my old job at Walmart walked up to someone who was looking at a $3,000 TV and said, "That's the best TV we got. You should buy that one," and they bought it, and it was complete and total trash, I am complicit in ripping them off of $3,000. Now, whether they enjoyed that or not, I still lied to get that money. That is unethical in action. Just because they happen to enjoy it for whatever period of time until it dies 3 months later. If I walked up to someone and said, "Oh, yeah, that smartwatch is fantastic. No, you should really buy that one." And I know for a fact that almost every single one I've ever sold has been returned, and that one's probably going to get returned too. That's unethical behavior. And just because my wife gets to profit off of that because I bring home a nice paycheck at the end of the week, that's still money that's unethically obtained. Okay?
I just don't care about the middleman, who the middleman goes through. If you have people that want to donate to a cause, which is the YouTube audience, they want to have it be donated to a cause. What does it matter whose hands it goes through, as long as it goes through his hands to the right cause?
Because
why does that matter at the end of the day?
Because the middleman who is obtaining that money unethically gets to profit from that in the end. Because the person who is...
How is he going to profit off of it if he's giving everything away?
Celebrity, okay, by celebrity, by activity with celebrity, and eventually by profit, because people will gravitate towards that person for the act. Those are
so you think this is going to make him bigger if he gets that?
Oh, well, no shit, Sherlock. Because of the fact that, I was going to donate that money. Well, now I can't donate this money because YouTube won't let me. Now all of a sudden you have a bunch of supporters.
You've always thought that. Wait a minute, you always thought that Casey Neistat was a dick or something? I always thought that he was okay.
There's a lot of stuff out there on Neistat. But matter of fact, let me see if I can look some stuff up real quick. Let's see. Casey.
I mean, before we even break this on down to like what kind of person this guy is, I mean, I thought he was a decent guy.
I could really care less. But if you're going to use charity as a form of bargaining, that's a dirtbag move. Charity as a form of a bargaining tool is a dirtbag move. Like that is like anyone who's used charity as a bargaining tool doesn't deserve to have the bargaining tool to begin with.
You think it's a Here's the key word. You think it's a bargaining. You don't think it's a fighting tool.
Yep.
Why don't you think it's a fighting tool though?
It should never.
He's fighting for somebody.
It should never be used as a bargaining tool.
Right, but I'm saying, why do you think it's a bargaining tool? Why can't it be a tool that he's trying to use it to? He's defending somebody.
Because if you're using a tragedy in your quest to have a video monetized, okay, if you're using something in a video that you know is not going to get monetized to begin with, because YouTube does not allow you to make money off of videos like that, if you know as a set to start off with that YouTube is going to shut that monetization down, and then you're going to use that after the fact, say, oh, it's going to donate the money, how is that not considered a dirtbag move? How about you say, okay, well, I know I can't monetize this video, but I've set up a fund, I've set up this with this company or whatever, and all the money, or all. How about this? What so many other people do. I'm coming out with this limited edition t-shirt. If you buy this within the next 14 days, all the profits of the sale of this t-shirt go straight to Las Vegas victims. How about that? How about you actually take some intelligent steps instead of doing something that's intentionally going to get you shut down by YouTube and then using that as a bargaining tool? I was going to donate the money. How much of a dirtbag do you have to look like to try to call out YouTube for the demonetization policies? Really? Is that really the conversation we're going to have here? Because if someone knows that they are not going to get money off of that video, they're going to put up that video anyway, then try to monetize it anyway, knowing that they're not going to be allowed to, and then complain because another channel is being monetized that's somebody completely different in a different space of entertainment than you, and someone who's probably made more money and also donated probably more money than you have to anything, period. How is this considered possible good behavior by some idiot YouTuber?
Well, he could have really thought that he's trying to fight a big bad company. Have you ever thought about that too? Like he's trying to fight a war.
Trying to fight a big bad company that made him what he is by giving him the platform to do what he does. Period. He knows
he could really be thinking that he's fighting for these people. I don't know if I think he's like really trying to, like use this for his fame or everything. I don't think he's trying to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Your thing is,
there is nothing in my eyes that makes him look good in this situation. He's an idiot for thinking otherwise. And that may be the unpopular view, but the simple fact is, if you know something's going to happen and then it happens and then you're pissed off because it happened, because you forced their hand, it's like me punching someone in the face, they punch me back, and then I get upset because I get punched. Seriously. How can anybody think that's an intelligent way to go about your life, not to mention business?
Well, how do you think he should have went about trying to see that this cause should have gotten donated by his audience?
Exactly what I said. Make a t-shirt. Set up a fund page. Do anything of the sort to draw attention to the issue. Know that he's not going to get money for the video because, duh. And then promote that within the time frame that he's given himself. Really simple, not hard to do, and actually follows YouTube's terms of service. This is really not a hard situation to figure out. You do things the right way. You go through the right channels. You get the correct output of what you want to have happen. You don't try to monetize it and then say, well, I was going to donate the money after the fact when they shut you down the first time just to make yourself look good. That's egotistical. That is outright stupid on his part to even think that.
I don't think he was. I don't think Neistat is a bad guy, and I don't think he was trying to do it to benefit himself. I think he was really thinking about the people that were affected at the end of the day.
Exactly. You think he's that way, but you know what? Most of us YouTubers, we think broad scope. He thinks that he's going to make himself a little bit bigger because guess what? He's joining up with CNN to do something now too. It's the simple fact that he seems to think that he's making himself look good at the end of the day. And
I just thought that YouTube is just another platform to try to, like you said, what's the difference between YouTube and a t-shirt? I just thought it was a different platform.
Well, if it was a different platform, then maybe you should have done the right thing instead of doing the stupid thing. God forbid you actually do things the correct way and make everybody look good in the process.
Yeah, but why is one medium the correct way and the other one, like, if I wanted to make a video and donate...
Because if he makes a T-shirt and he does things the right way, he doesn't look like an idiot who doesn't know how to follow YouTube's terms of service as a whole. He doesn't look like a moron for intentionally violating his terms of uploading to a website that made him a star to begin with. Without YouTube, 90% of everybody who's made famous by this website goes down the drain. You know why? Because nobody watches a bunch of these people outside of this platform. This is not a hard equation to figure out. How many YouTubers do you see outside of YouTube? How many? How many of us? Really?
I don't know, Doug. All I'm trying to say is, like... So you're saying, I guess my question is, so you're saying that you should never try to have a good cause on YouTube then? That's pretty much what Doug said. It's not about
not having a good cause. It's about having a cause that you go through the correct channels of supporting.
Why isn't YouTube a good channel though? Like, so I shouldn't do that if I want to try to raise money for a certain charity?
The terms of service say that if you attempt to make a video based off of a subject that they deem demonetizable, that you cannot make money on, you don't force the hand.
Well, what if they're wrong in their terms? They could be wrong in those terms of services. That could be stupid terms of service, though.
Here's the thing. When you sign up to be a YouTuber, when you continue to make YouTube videos, whether you agree with the terms of service or not, and there are sometimes I don't agree with the terms of service, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and they could change all the times.
And you know what? You operate within the realm that you're given. You make the videos inside the realm that you are given. And if you work within that system to promote whatever you're promoting, you may not make the money off the video, but you look just as good, if not better, than supporting whatever cause that you're supporting by a different link. You say you link out in the description to a T-shirt page, boom, there you go. It's simple. It's really simple when you break it down, when you actually follow the terms of service, whether you agree with them or not. And you know what? As it pertains to YouTube and any other website, there is no such thing as a wrong terms of service because you agree to them when you sign up to be a part of this website. This is not a hard situation to go through.
So basically, I'm seeing a recurring theme here. YouTube can do no wrong and has done no wrong. That's pretty much what I'm sensing from you. Like, because you've always defended YouTube on every kind of discussion we've had.
Because you know what? It's their platform. They came up with it. They invited the YouTube content creators to be on the website to begin with. They don't have to pay us. They are not required to pay us. They were never required to pay us. No one ever said that YouTube was contractually obligated to set up a partner system for us. No one ever said that YouTube had to give us any type of bandwidth to put up videos onto the website. How was YouTube ever forced to host videos? No. Was YouTube ever forced to pay the content creators? No. You know why they do that? Because they allow it in their terms of service. And as long as you fall within your regulations on the terms of service on the content platform that they provided that you signed up for willingly, and when you agreed to the partner system willingly, you agreed to be a part of that partner program, and you agreed to abide by the terms of service that were given to you when you signed up and when they changed the terms of service, which, by the way, they let you know when they changed the terms of service. So that explanation, oh, I didn't know, goes straight out the window. This is not a who's right and who's wrong. This is a platform that gives you a platform willingly, not forced, willingly, to do something that you enjoy to do.
And so all terms of service that companies make is right and justified. That's what you're saying.
Unless
you're pretty much giving the argument that it's a terms of service. So that's God. That means everything.
Is it legally challengeable? Can you legally challenge?
Yeah, if it's seen.
What I'm saying here is YouTube saying that certain subjects are not monetizable. Is that a term of service that you could honestly and truthfully, let's be honest here, challenge in a court of law and force them to pay you?
I don't know.
You can't. You know why? Because it is not a situation where you can force them to pay you for your free speech.
So you're saying YouTube has never screwed anybody over?
I'm not saying YouTube's never screwed anybody over. It's the fact that the truth of the matter is that they made an advertising and AdSense change to how they monetize. Okay? That's the terms of service that they changed to appease advertisers, which, by the way, if they didn't change it, we wouldn't get jack shit to begin with. Let's just throw that out there as well. This entire game could have been over back in February. This entire racket that we got going, that we get paid to do, could have been done. Finito. All of it wiped out with a single stroke of a key, just like that. Out the window. All of us. Out in the cold. Every single content creator could have been shut down monetarily. We'd had to fend for ourselves as far as making money. You know why they didn't? Because it left options to make money. They left options that fell within what the advertisers were willing to spend on. Okay? Okay? Are we in agreement on that? So, we make videos that either fall within the advertisers, the monetizable category, or the non-monetizable category. Now, speaking about tragedy, as far as a content creator, your standard content creator partner agreement falls under the non-monetizable category. You know why? Because advertisers don't want to advertise on these types of videos. So what does this moron do? He creates a video about the non-monetizable category, and then he's pissed off because it becomes non-monetizable. This is a simple logic strain here that I'm drawing out for you. And drawing out for everybody.
But even people like Philip DeFranco is saying that's wrong. There's a lot of people saying it's wrong. It's just not just me or Casey Neistat. I mean, it doesn't mean it doesn't suck, though.
Tears. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you have to protest to change it, especially for something that, to be quite honest, is never a guarantee. This isn't something that you can say, oh, they should they have a legal what's the word I'm looking for? Drew a blank there. That they have legal responsibility to us. They have no legal responsibility to us. They have none. They're not responsible for us. They're not responsible to pay us. They're not responsible to do a damn thing but to host the videos under the partner program, and even that, they can delete whatever they want anyway. You know why nobody challenges them legally? Because none of us have a legal base to do so. We're not employees. We don't get paid every week. We're not guaranteed a sum.
Well, I've heard of some big YouTubers like being shut down for political reasons, and they say they're about to sue YouTube, and YouTube backs off.
Political reasons. Congratulations. YouTube just doesn't want a PR issue. That's it.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing that there are a lot of entitled YouTubers out there, and especially someone who's talking smack about a system that he knows he can't win against, complaining about it. And I don't care what Philip DeFranco or anybody else says about it. It is what it is in the end.
Right. Well, I'm going to have to go here, Doug. I'm about to be picked up here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think you've heard us talking for quite enough, or hear me rant. So I thank you for popping on in. Of course, everybody watch the TNT podcast. And I'll see you guys
for having me on.
Yep. I'll see everybody out there next time. Goodbye.
Peace out.
Good night. And the headphones go down.
Oh, no. No, my dad is saying he's coming up right now.